Monster Integration by N1. Chapter 281 Encounter. Rule? What are they? A type of energy? Or a different type of power? I don't know what to think of it. He said that the awakening ceremony will help us awaken our minds and help us comprehend a high level of power. He said that rule power transcends stages, and even lowest stage evolver could kill the strongest powerhouse of the world if he comprehended. That sounds like words of fantasy. Even if I don't know much about the world I live, I still know that our continent is a tiny part of the world, and our continent had evolvers that reached just 12 stages, which are called 12 basic stages for some reason. The real powerhouse is found in the central continent, but it is extremely hard to go there, and only top organizations knew how to get there, as all the top organizations here are just small branches of the organizations of central continent. Going to Region 9 going to be dangerous, unlike Region 1 to Region 5 where you can go directly to any regions as there are multiple barriers. It is different from the Region 6. If I have to go to Region 9 from Region 6, then I will have to pass through Region 7. Region 7, Region 8 and Region 9 are already very dangerous, but now with loosening restriction, the realm will become even more dangerous, as unpredictably if spatial still exist. As now realm's limit will increase from master stage to lieutenant stage, so, all those in this realm, those who are stuck in master stage, be it humans or monsters, both will able to level up. From master stage monster I can run away, but I would really hard to run away from the lieutenant monster. Jim had said the realm's restrictions will loosen around somewhere midnight, and that is when organizations will open a gate of Minerva realm again to let millions of people in. There will be a slaughter, not only of monsters but of humans as well, as to gain power then transcend the stages. If they are able to even touch their power, not only they will gain huge strength, they will be made super elites as organizations had promised. With such tantalizing offer, many people will jump the gun without care for their lives. There will be mayhem. I just hope that organizations will only corporal stage above evolvers let in that way casualties that will happen could be minimized. Now I have around 16 hours before restriction loosen and the gates of Minerva realm open to let a large number of people in. As I think about it, as a simple plan formed inside my mind. I am going to go directly to the Region 7 now. It will take me 8 to 9 hours to reach the boundary. After reaching the Region 7, I will find a relatively safe place before those master stage monsters started to level up to the lieutenant stage. There in Region 7, I will wait for waves of people to come, as I am not going to be lucky enough to transport next to the boundary in Region 7. I will wait for new people to come and fight of strong monsters that had leveled up and used that chance. I will cross the Region 7. As for crossing other regions, I will think about it after I reach the Region 7. I quickly started cooking the meal food that stooped cooking after Jim came at me. There is a lot of food here, enough to be eaten by 6 people and their monster. I am not worried about it will go waste. As long as I put it in my storage, I can easily eat for 2 days. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. I finished dinner and started to eat with Ashlyn. After I quickly finished eating the food, I packed and cleaned everything in record time. There is no need to think about it. I said as I looked at the forest below me, I am going to the same way that Jim's and several other groups had left. Just a few minutes ago I had called those groups idiotic, but now I doing the same as them despite having a small chance of encountering the life vapor mosquito. Even if I came across the life vapor mosquito and it bit, I quickly had to drink the daffodil honey I have. The small bottle that Jim handed me before leaving contained at least 20 drops of daffodil honey. It is more than enough for the honeycomb I had fed to Sarah. I take out the peak level specialist monster core from the pocket and ate it as I descend toward the forest. Controlling the core of the monster melting speed with my mental energy, I activate both my strengthening skill and speed type. On top of that, I even covered myself with the silver fire so life vapor mosquitoes won't come close to me. As I descended on the forest and jumped directly on 3, this sergeant stage monster territory, so I don't have to slow down my speed. I ran across the forest with full speed, thinking the less time I waste in Region 6, the more time I will have in the Region 7, and if my luck was really good and I had transferred near the boundary in Region 7, then I could even reach the Region 8 before boundary had fully loosened. As I was speedily going toward the direction of the boundary, I saw some people also doing the same at their full speed. The news is traveling. The organizations did not intend to keep the news of Awakening Ground secret, instead they spreading it and encouraging all their members in the realms to spread it. Otherwise, they would have not planning to open realms gates for tonight and let anyone in free as long as they fit the criteria. Jim had said millions of people would be coming from tonight and organizations specially keen on taking their talented members to the Awakening Ground, no matter the cost. Buzz buzz. I heard the faint buzzing sound, and hearing this sound I have become instantly alert and cursed my bad luck. Fuck. What did I do to born with such shitty luck? I thought as this buzzing sound is the sound of life vapor mosquito. Soon I saw the 2 red-sized mosquitoes are coming toward me, one small which only slightly bigger than the thumbnail while slightly bigger on is the thumb. They are at mid-corporal stage and peak sergeant stage respectively. There is no chance of running seeing they both are faster than me, and having back against them would be a very dangerous choice as even slight touch of their venom would immobilize in a few seconds. The good thing is that there are only 2 of them, as most of the time life vapor mosquito is found in a group of tens or hundreds. I sighed of relief after hearing no mosquitoes nearby. Killing these 2 life vapor mosquitoes would not be a problem as long as I worked hard. With the help of unlimed mana and special bolt of fire strike, killing them would be easy as long as I am able to hit them seeing their extreme speed. Fire strike. Fire strike. I released 2 special bolt of fire strike one after another, but both of the life vapor mosquitoes avoided, but corporal stage 1's wing is grazed by the bolt, burning it a little, which made its flying unstably. The fire on the special bolt is extremely concentrated. Even if one just grazed by it, it will still injure it seriously. That corporal stage life vapor mosquito quite lucky that its wing is just slightly grazed by it, and it had strong defense, otherwise it would have turned to ashes with just this amount to fire. Both of life vapor mosquitoes stopped and started to hover around me, searching for the best time to attack. Fire strike. Gub. I launched another special bolt, this type at corporal stage, who was unsteadily flying. It tried to dodge it, but due to its wing being burned, it wasn't able to do it, and my special firebolt directly landed on it and it burned to death before it even knows it. Buzz buzz. Seeing its partner dead, peak sergeant stage life vapor mosquito came at me furiously. I smiled, seeing, the closer it got to me, the less it will able to dodge. Fire strike. Dud. As it was just meters away from me, I launched the special bolt of the fire strike and it squarely on its body and made a sound as the life vapor mosquito collided against the tree due to the momentum of my force. I was about to go near it to remove its core and see if its venom pouch is still salvageable, as every drop of its venom insanely expensive. Buzz buzz. Fuck. I cursed loudly, seeing life vapor mosquito coming out o' tree. It fully blackened and its wings are damaged quite a bit, but it's still able to fight quite a well. I could help but be astonished, seeing as if it had been master stage monster in its place, it would have died with its brain melt, but this mosquito is just seriously injured. You can't compare the 3 Banes to the other monsters, they are a league above them, and that is why they had been graded upper A monster. It did not attack me but started to run. I am not surprised, seeing that the higher level monster had good self-preservation instincts. I am not going to run away, and with his wing damaged and it is seriously injured, I now had no worries about it dodging my attacks. Fire strike. Fire strike. Thud. It is finally dead. I thought as it fell into the ground with a silent thud. Chapter 282, Region 7. It's in great condition, I said excitedly as I took out the tiny venomous pouch from the black and dead life vapor mosquito. There must be 4 to 5 drops of venom inside it. As I placed the pouch in the small bottle carefully, the price life vapor mosquito is insanely expensive and could be compared to the drop of daffodil bees honey that I have. These few drops will sell even more expensive, seeing they are from sergeant stage monster, and honey I have is made by his corporal stage daffodil bees. The reason the venom of life vapor mosquito, because it is the thing which burns the life force. I had never any venom could do that before hearing about life vapor mosquito. It is also the thing which Jim had given special start in his list, means it is very important. After storing the INT's venom pouch, I took it to core out, which would only fetch 3 or maybe 4 times price master stage monster, seeing it is from upper A grade monster. It gets a good price but compares to Venom it is nothing. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience please click for visiting. It may be not much in price compared to its Venom but to me, it is more precious. It is a core upper a monster which has more dense and powerful energy in its core than that of the master stage. When I get enough control over berserk energy, I will eat it and see how dense berserk energy it have. The corporal stage life vapor mosquito completely turned to ash as I touched it, except for its core, nothing had survived. I resumed my journey after storing everything in my storage. On the journey to the boundary of Region 6 only Stone Forest are as dangerous as it had both master and specialist stage monsters. As long as I cross this Stone Forest, my whole journey will be uneventful till I reached the boundary. Time passed by. As I traveled through the Stone Forest, I've come across many specialist stage monsters which I killed with a single shot of mine. As master stage monster, I did not touch them as engaging with them only going to waste my precious time. It's not that I did not kill any master stage monsters, I had killed them and even ran away from them. Just when I was about to get out of the Store Forest a peak level master stage monster started to chase after me. If not for me having unlimed mana, I would have definitely got seriously injured. After getting out of the Stone Forest, the rest of the journey was quite simple, except for the minor glitch. There had been a team of 4 led by mid-specialist stage evolver tried to rob me but they were all dead by my special bolt before they even knew it. They had come to rob me but I robbed them instead as I took all the good things their dead self had. Boundary, I said with a sigh as I saw many people hurried to pass through it. No one is an idiot and those who got the same intelligence lasm should have though planned similar to as it is most viable and efficient. Cross as many as region you can before restriction loosen and if they able to reach the region 8 by luck then their half the journey is already completed. Dub dub dub. Without waiting, I also passed Thought Boundary and when I reached the other side, I was in a heavy downpour of rain. The good news is that it's a day and not night otherwise it would have hell to identify my location. Region 7 completely filled with the rainforests and there is always some amount of rain. It is a good thing that I am very much dry due to several layers of protection. I walk round in the rain for 10 minutes to find the tallest tree. After finding the tree is tall enough to serve my purpose, I climb on top of it. After climbing the one I look around, I became quite frustrated. I can't see through this fucking rain clear. I had to spend 15 minutes on the treetop bearing the onslaught of heavy to gain the idea of where I am. It is both good news and bad news. The bad news is I am knee-deep in the master stage monsters territory and to get out of it I will need 7 to 8 hours seeing heavy rain and by that restriction will completely loosen. If I am still in this territory by that time and come across newly leveled up lieutenant stage monster, then it will be my end. There is also good news, that I am really close to the boundary of Region 7 as long as I cross it, I will be able to enter the Region 8 and it will take me around the same time. I am calling the second choice as good news but it can very well turn into very bad news as by the time I cross the boundary, I will have a maximum hour of time before restrictions loosen and after crossing the boundary. If I again transported to master stage monsters territory as I had just now then it will surely be my end. My dilemma lasted just for a second before I started running toward the boundary. Instead of going outside master territory, I decided to take a chance and go toward the boundary. My luck can be bad and I could end up master stage monster territory which could any moment turn into the lieutenant stage monster territory or I can also be transported to the safe territory of lower stage monster and statistically, my chances of transported to the lower stage monster territory are quite high. Chap chap. I did not like rain usually but right now I am loving it. This heavy rain is not only masking the smell but it is also masking my footsteps as well, so now no monsters can follow me by these. The only danger I have from the monsters that can see me and if I became little stealthy, that danger can also be minimized as well. Chap chap chap. Realizing there is no danger from the sound of my footsteps, I increased my speed fast as I could in this thick forest. Soon I saw my first monster, is some kind of chimp monster, about 8 meters tall. It is sitting by the tree in rain and eating a large number of fruits that piled near it. It feels like rain is not affecting as it is food with an ugly smile on its face despite some rain falling on its huge body. It is a mid-level master stage monster and it will be 10% to 15% stronger that same level as the monster in Region 6. As the higher the region is, the stronger are the monster in them. That is why I had decided to train in Region 6 till the realm is closed. Handling monster is at Region 6 is already my limit. Higher the regions I ascend, the dangerous it will be for me and even life-threatening, but the temptation of power is too strong that I can't control myself from going on this dangerous journey. Not only I, in 2 to 3 days, but I might also even see specialized stage evolvers in the further region. This is the chance that can completely transform one's life, can help one ascend higher than his limit. For this chance people will come in dove, even if the chance of survival is only 1%, that is how great this temptation is. The only ones who could be safe in this journey are strong lieutenant stage and people like Jim who had beacon bracelets. They don't have to worry about transport to a random place, they can transport to any place where the beacon is set up. With the help of these beacon traveling through regions extremely fast as they directly transport near the beacon which is set up near the boundary of next region. He might well as had already reached the Region 9 and currently going toward the awakening ground. Michael didn't how right he is this time, as Jim had already reached near the boundary that leads to the awakening ground. Chapter 283 Helping Friends. 2 hours passed and I haven't been noticed by any monsters yet. This is all thanks to this heavy rain that had been shielding me from gazes of the monsters. It's not like I haven't been completely unnoticeable. I sensed that some monsters had noticed me, but they too lazy to follow me into the rain seeing my low level. One mid-level monster had tried to me though, but I increased my speed and left it behind. This forest is very dense. After you moved away more than 200 meters in this forest, no one can see you as his vision will be obstructed by big thick trees. If I am going on by this speed then it shouldn't take me more than 2 hours to reach the boundary. The head guess earlier, in case I've come across the monsters, but if my luck continues to hold this well then, the 2 hours should be enough. I was quickly running through the forest when I heard the faint sound of the battle. They were very faint but I can still hear them. I would have skirted around the area where the battle is happening but I can't, as I am an area where on both of my side are a large stream of water. It will be hell to pass through them and most importantly it will waste a lot of time. Well, this is not bad as it seems. As long as I go around the corner, there is a good chance that the monster and whoever fighting it won't notice me and I will safely able to leave. As I walk further, the sound of battle grew louder and louder, even the heavy sound of rain won't be able to block it. Soon I got the faint visual of the battle. There are 2 people fighting it and monster they are fighting is plant type. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience please click for visiting. It is a plant type flower monster at mid-level master stage. It had big flower head which it seemed to be shooting needles. Because of that 2 people fighting it didn't seem to get closer to launch and lethal attack. They have a few long-range skills but they are not able to harm much. If it was any other same level monster is in it steady, they would have injured it heavily, but the vitality of plant-type monster is too high. One had to kill it in a single strike. They won't even run away from this monster. Seeing this flower monster is very swift, it can definitely chase, so the best option would kill it and then move on. I stopped suddenly. I know them, both of them, and we can even be considered a friend. They were Billy and Nigel, both of them used to live in the same apartment building as me. We can be considered friends as they many times gave me tips when I was training and one time they even saved me when I was chased by the monster in my first days of adventuring. Last time I saw them more than a year ago, both of them were at initial corporal stage but now both of them are at the peak level of sergeant stage and were able to fight equal term with mid-level master stage monster. I would have gone on my way seeing it mid-stage monster but I stooped remembering how many times they had helped me and my fire ability is a nemesis of plant-type monsters. My fire strike would work quite well against it. Sighing I moved toward the good spot to launch the attack. I hope to finish the fight in a minute or 2. I don't think my fire strike is powerful enough to kill this mid-level master monster but my attack can injure and distract it enough to give 2 of them the chance of getting close to it and kill them off. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. Growling. I climbed on the tree to get a perfect aim at the monster and launched 3 special bolts of fire strike at flower monster. My sudden attack both surprised the monster and 2 people fighting it. The monster screamed loudly and launched its needle attack at me while two people below used this chance to attack the monster. Billy and Nigel did not waste time knowing who attacked the monster. Seeing I did attack the monster means I had no ill will toward them, and they focused on killing the monsters. As for the needles that monster had shot toward it completely missed as I jumped from my location after launching the attack. Fire strike. Fire strike. I again launched 5 special bolt of the fire strike to aid the Billy and Nigel as monster about to launch its attack on them. I have to say, this plant-type monster is extremely tensile. In just a few seconds its body showered with more than 20 powerful attacks, but every it got healed in a few seconds. These plant-type monsters have terrifying vitality. If you don't have the power to kill them in one stroke, you better don't fight it, as it will take hours to whittle away all of its vitality. Seeing mana in my body is nearly finished, I took out another peak-level specialist stage core from my pocket. Ate it. This is the third monster core I ate today. The first one I ate when I left the volcano, the second one I ate an hour after I killed 2 life vapor mosquitoes, and third one now. All of them were peak specialist stage cores. They lasted for quite a while and I am perfectly able to control its melting speed, and the berserk energy is released. I now have no problem controlling the specialist core. From tomorrow, I will try the corporal stage core and see at how many levels I was able to control it. If it too much, I will come back to specialist core and practice with for few more days, and if it is fine then I will get my mana with converting corporal stage berserk energy. I may seem quite carefree eating monster cores, but I am extremely careful about it. I keep a very close eye on it. How it affecting my ability and my body. It hadn't been a full day since I started my experiment with berserk energy if I didn't count being force-fed one, but I haven't seen its effect. Berserk energy is rampant and uncontrollable, but it is also one of the best to refine one's body and source, as this is the reason why monsters' bodies and abilities so strong. With time, this berserk energy not only will make my body stronger, but it will also give my ability a berserk nature which will make it very lethal. The only side effect is that one day if it went out of control, it will blast me like a balloon. So, as long as I kept eating the monster core, I will also have to keep making new seals of supreme combat exercise, for it keeps successfully fusing with my body and source without any side effects. As long as I care for these things, I don't think I will have any problem with exploding like a balloon. Slice. With the powerful swing of his saber, Billy had finally cut the flowery head of flower monster. The battle may look it took too long, but it is finished in less than 2 minutes. He laid against the tree for a few moments before coming toward me with Nigel. "Friend, thank you for your help there. Without you we wouldn't have able to kill the monster this easily," said Billy. "It's okay," I said, and came out of hiding. As they saw my face, both left dumbstruck as they wouldn't believe it was me. "Michael," both of them shouted in unison, "you guys should leave this area. It's going to get very, very dangerous," I said, and about to leave. "I have already wasted a few minutes. I don't want to waste any more time." "Michael, wait," said Billy hastily as I activated my strength and speed type skill again to leave. "You are going toward the awakening ground," said Billy as I stopped. "This time it's my time to be dumbstruck. I thought I will take 2 days at least to spread this news across the realm, but seemed like I was wrong." Chapter 284, Falling Down. "You guys knew about it?" I asked in surprise. "Yes, we coincidentally come across Nigel's old friend," he informed us. "We were just going toward the spatial boundary, but this fucking monster attacked us out nowhere and was quite clingy, so we had no choice but fight it," said Billy. "Let's not waste any time then," I said, and started running, and they both ran beside me. "So do you think what they said about the awakening ground it's true?" asked Nigel. He rarely spoke, and whenever I see him, a small amount of pity reflected in my eyes for this poor guy. He rejected in public by his crush and then badly beaten by it. Although he seemed recovered from that incident, such incidents surely would have left a scar on his heart. "I think it is real," I said, and they started explaining to them what Jim had said, as their friend seemed to have told them and only a bit about it. "Fuck this real, Sam only told us that awakening ground had an amazing chance, and if we are able to pass the test and get that chance we'll receive power beyond our imagination," said Billy. Few minutes passed silently as they were in deep thought and thinking about what I said before quite Nigel asked the question again. this time eagerness could be heard in his voice. Do you know what this rule power is? I shook my head hearing that question. I am already very confused, and whenever I try to think about it, I became even more confused. I would have asked more to Jim what is the power of rule which he talked about, but he left before I could let a word out of my mouth. Time passed by as we swiftly ran toward the boundary, and rain gave us safe passage for any monster. The hour passed silently as if nothing major happened, then we should be able to reach the boundary within an hour. Traveling through dense trees is quite an experience. Here we can't use our full and had to look for every second as we could be attacked from anywhere. If not for such heavy rain, we would have been attacked by tens of monsters. Thank God, no monster had attacked us. If going on this speed we will reach the boundary less than an hour, said Billy. Hun, just as he said that we heard the sound behind us, only to find Red Snake made of vine coming toward us speedily. Fuck. I cursed internally and looked at Billy angrily, not only I, but Nigel also looking at him angrily. Why did he have to open his mouth about not coming across any monsters? Now we have come across one, and this is peak master stage. Fur. We ran with all our might, seeing the peak master stage vine snake behind us. I even started using fire jets as a brake to avoid the trees. It was great luck that this vine snake did not seem to have any long-range abilities, otherwise we would be in deep shit. When I look back again, notice something. I was wrong about my earlier and thanked God for the said. This red fog vine snake is released poison fog from its pores which sped quite speedily. We were lucky that there was heavy rain which is diffusing all the poison, or else we would be lying in the mud poisoned, ready to be devoured by that snake. Hurry, I kept thinking in my mind as I used me to run away, as vine snake is coming closer and closer. It is a great idea to use fire jets as speed breaker. It helps me speedily avoid trees, also gave me force to jump sideways. Sometimes the trees became even think. I didn't run but joining zigzag fashion. I would have really liked to climb the trees and running on them, but it is very dangerous. Any master stage flying monster could fly down and scoop me in its talons before I know it. Shar. The vine snake again made a frustrated sound as it was not able to catch us. It had been chasing us for quite some time but did not able to catch us, and it is making it frustrated. It many times tried to lunge at us but failed due to obstruction from the trees, the dense trees that obstruct us from using our full speed and had been protecting us from its lunges. Its speed did not change no matter how many trees come across its way. It will fluidly move its body around the trees. The reason it had failed to catch us because speed is not the vine snake forte. If we're another strong peak level master stage monster, it would have caught us by now. Nigel and Billy are running not far away from me. I can see their glimpses in the tree. Their speed is the same level, as the only difference is that I am using my fire jets to control my speed while both doing on their own. They are controlling their speed type so efficiently that no tree could obstruct them. This is due to their experience. I couldn't help but sigh seeing them. Everyone has their own way. I am using my ability while they are using their experience and reflexes they had trained in years of training. Efficiency-wise my way is better, as despite being a stage lower than them, my speed isn't lower than them. Half an hour has passed since the vine snake is following us, and by our speed, we should be very close to the spatial boundary. I would have seen it from the distance if not for rain clouding my vision. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. The chasing of the vine snake is not a bad thing. This half hour of the chase we had come across many monsters, and due to this big bad snake chasing us, so we could be stealthy, but it was not the bad thing. As whichever monster comes across us didn't dare to attack us, seeing it is peak master stage monster that is following us. Even those peak master monster didn't attack, seeing we are passing by just a few meters from it. Good, came out of my mouth as I spotted the blurry layer of the spatial boundary. Seeing that I increased my speed again, it will take a maximum of 2 minutes to cross the spatial boundary. The snake behind me started to increase its speed but did not able to catch as we inched closer to the spatial boundary. I ran and ran, getting more and more excited every second. The adrenaline in my body is high, and a big smile formed on my face as I saw spatial boundary a few meters in front of me. See you in the awakening ground, I said to both Billy and Nigel, who are not far away from me, and jumped toward the spatial boundary. Fuck. My vision blurred as I passed through the spatial boundary, and when I opened my eyes, I find myself mid-air, seeing that I couldn't help myself from cursing. Chapter 285 Safe Place. Fuck. I cursed loudly as I saw myself falling down. I thought I would be transported to the hard ground, but my luck was so bad that I am transported in the mid-air, and quite high at that. I am falling down at high speed. I am definitely going into a crash into the hill below, and my survival would not be guaranteed despite my full night grade gear and defensive skill is activated. Normally people transported to the ground, but this time my luck was really bad that I directly transported mid-air. I became one of those very unlucky people who transported mid-air. Usually, it happened very less. It did not happen 1/10,000, but sometimes people just transported mid-air, and unlucky ones like me, transported very high. Even if they have many layers of protection, they will still die after falling from this high. I calmed myself down forceful and started to think about the ways to get out of this predicament, and I found a way pretty soon. I would have thought of it before if not for being panicked over falling. Sky steps. I activated the sky steps and decreased my speed in the sky. Thank God I had my strengthening skill activated, otherwise my knee would have been cracked by the force I've been falling from above. After stabilizing myself, I started to jump down with the help of sky steps. While jumping down, I take a look below. Region 8 is his hilly area. Wherever I look from above, all I see verdant hills of various sizes. As I am going down, I opened the map on my HoloWatch to see the map. Currently, I am in the best position to see my location as I can see the whole Region 8 from this high. Canvas Hill Range. This is my location. It is a territory where specialist stage and corporal stage monsters reside. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. It is a quite safe territory but will not be much longer. Not only this, but no place in Minerva Realm will be safe. The loosening of restriction will not only enable peak master stage to level, but it will create big waves, which will create big waves that will take quite to die down. Currently, across all the regions of Minerva Realm, all the territory of monsters are divided, and monsters being territorial, they rarely breach the territory of other monsters, but that will change in an hour or two. After peak master monsters level up to lieutenant stage, the delicate balance across the regions will be broken and mayhem will occur. The monsters will breach each other's territories, monster hordes will form, and fights of monsters will occur in every minute. The Minerva Realm will go batshit crazy. I could accidentally come across the monster horde or worst lieutenant stage monster, so, the best option would find a safe place and spend a few days inside it. I will not have to wait that long, as currently as I descending the gates of Minerva Realm once again had opened and people would have started to pour in, and in what numbers they would come, that I can't even imagine. Now, I just have to wait for a few days and let the waves of people that came and kill the monsters, as I knew very well with restrictions loosened, tens of thousands of evolvers will pour in, both young and old. They will be enough to handle these newly evolved. Roar, CRRRY. It had started. As I started to descend down, I started to hear faint voices of the monsters. The mayhem had already started and will soon spread across the whole region. I will soon have to find a safe place to hide, otherwise I will surely get caught up in this mayhem. There is still time though. I will have about an hour before the mayhem start, and to reach it where I am, it will take a few hours, I thought. While descending, a thought bloomed in my mind. It is about the sky steps. Sky steps is an amazing skill which can help one walk on the air, but it had two major weaknesses. First is that it takes too much mana, and second is that one could only create 3 footholds successively. To create more foothold one have to wait for the second. These weaknesses would have been impossible to cover up, but now they pose no problem for me, as I now have unlimited mana and waiting for the new second jump isn't a big deal for me. I used to get very jealous of seeing super elites walking on the air, but now I also can do that, and I am currently doing it now. Walking on the air is now not a big problem but doing it in Minerva Realm is dangerous. It is even more dangerous in a place like Region 8. While descending, I am keeping eyes on 4 directions in case any monster attack me, especially a master stage one. It would be very dangerous. Thud. Finally, I landed on the ground with a thud. Only then did I able to take a breath of calm. All this time I was in the air. I was feeling very scared, thinking some master stage monster would attack me, and it would have been very dangerous for me. I did not waste time after landing on the hill and directly went to search for a place to hide. The cave would be the best option for me. After activating my tent inside it, I can spend a few days inside it without worry as long as I camouflaged it well. There shouldn't be any problem for me finding a suitable cave seeing in this hilly area. Every hill should have many caves. Many monsters had attacked me when I am busy searching for the cave. These monsters are not behaving normally, they looked spooked. Seeing me, they are either attacking me or fleeing from me. They must have sensed that the great change is coming, and that must have spooked them quite well. Soon I found the cave, and for this cave, I didn't have to kill any monster since it is empty, and looking at its condition, it looked like no monster had been inside it for months. I cleaned the cave with record speed and opened my tent inside it, not only that I had activated its maximum security mode and camouflaged function. Seeing it is not enough, I cut the branches of surrounding trees to camouflage the entrance of the cave. I even threw out some wireless cameras around the cave to keep an eye on the surroundings. I don't like to be totally blind. These few wireless cameras will be enough to provide me visual around my camp. These cameras are quite small. Forget about monsters, even humans won't be able to notice them if they weren't looking for them specifically. Usually, wireless communication won't work in the forest, but if the distance between receiver and transmitter is just a few hundred meters away, then they work quite fine. After seeing everything is good only, then I entered the camp. Choo-choo. Ashlyn has been inside me for past 16 hours. I hadn't let us out since I left the volcano on the Region 6. 16 hours of constant running and sometimes fighting had made me very tired physically and mentally, but it was worth it. I had crossed 2 regions in a day, and that saved me days. If I had stopped at Region 7, which I had originally planned, it would have taken me a minimum of 3 days to enter the Region 8, but now I had already in Region 8. After taking a quick shower, I started to heat up the food that I've made on the volcano. Originally I had made it for 6 people, but Jim and his friend had left in a hurry, so I had to pack it all in my storage. We both ate until we are full, and then I packed the rest of the food again. I activated all the cameras I placed outside only to see the movement of monsters had already started. It takes long before the mayhem occurred. I closed all the camera windows after checking everything. My camp is well hidden and already activated all the alarms, so I will know if any lieutenant stage monster appeared in the vicinity. After seeing all the arrangements are perfect, I laid my tired body on the bed and fell asleep in a minute. Chapter 286 Merge. When I woke up, I found I had slept for 13 hours. The first thing I did was to look at footage from cameras I placed outside. As expected, there were 6 cameras I placed on a different location around the camp. Of the 6 footages, only 1 is normal, while on the other 5, there is some kind of movement is going on. On the 2 cameras, monsters could be seen fleeing, while on the other 2 monsters could be seen fighting. The most interesting is the last footage, on which I can see as monsters are grouping together. They are on the way to form a horde. It is as I had expected. There will be more fights as time passed on, and bigger hordes would also be formed by monsters to tackle against foreign monsters that are encroaching on their territory. After seeing what is happening now, I started to watch recorded footage of the last 13 hours in a fast-forward manner. Nothing is out of my expectation. I thought to see the footage. Now I just have to sit tight and wait for waves of people that came. They will start arriving in Region 8 late today. Tomorrow I will see the waves of evolvers and the bloodbath they will make. After checking up everything is fine, I freshened up and take bath only to see Ashlyn is still sleeping. She will wake up automatically when she smelled the smell of the food. I did not cook lunch as we have much leftover left from yesterday. I just hated the leftovers. In the storage, the food really lasts long, 4 to 5 times compared to outside. Choo-choo. I heard Ashlyn chirp when I was just about to finish heating the food. I knew she would wake up after smelling the food, and she did. After finishing dinner, I watched the footage for some time before taking out books from my storage. I am not going to leave my tent for 2 days at least, and what better way to spend the time than reading the book? Although this is all, I am not going to that, but reading a book is the best choice after eating lunch. This is Totem Blueprint books I had bound in my night grade storage. I had only read for a few hours and did not able to finish it. Now that I have time, I decided to go over it. I may not understand it fully, but I will sure get basic of it. As I started to read the book, I saw that the author not only explains the construction of runes clearly, he also explains what materials suit which runes. The author explains the whole totem-making process step by step that even an idiot can make a totem after following the simple process written by the author. Every book represents different totem blueprint, and if I am able to reach the lieutenant stage someday, then I am definitely going to choose the totem blueprint from these 103 books to make my totem. When I am thinking about totem blueprint, my mind wandered to the totem. In this my few days in the Minerva realm, I had already collected half the money which I will need for buying a lieutenant stage totem, which is the lowest grade. I have seen Jill and her brother fighting with their totem artifacts, and enhancement it provides is not low level, and even mid-level night grade artifact could provide. I also wanted to buy the totem artifact before coming to Minerva realm, and even one time I was even ready to sell the mana cores I have, but I controlled myself from not buying it, thinking I am going in Minerva realm in search for the challenge that could help me level up. If I had brought the totem artifact, then there is no meaning searching for the challenge, as it will only increase my power and will not help me in leveling up, but now I am totally regretting it. Jill had told me to buy one and even willing to lend me some money in buying it, though I wouldn't have needed her money if I was willing to sell the refined mana core I have. It would have made my journey to the awakening ground lot easier if I had the totem artifact with me. It took me half a day roughly to finish reading the book, though I only understood very little, especially the runic part. It is enough for me. This book gave me quite a good idea on what actually is totem artifact and what type of things I will need. Expectation. Reading it, one thing sure startled me is that thing it is mentioned are a level above the list of totem making material. If I want to construct totem according to this standard, then I will have to work very hard to find the materials. Seeing all the cameras showing is within my expectation and no danger is approaching, I moved on the second thing I decided to do for today. I stood in the center of a tent, where there is space big enough for me to the exercise. I stretch my body as to prepare myself to do Windslayer combat styles exercise. I haven't done ever since I had leveled up. The instructor had said that once we created enough seals and our body is strong enough, we stop feeling the resistance from the exercise, and from that day, we won't have to perform this exercise again. I really want to see if my 17 seals are enough for me to stop feeling the resistance of the Windslayer combat style. I started on the floor. First I didn't feel anything as it took time to build up the resistance, but as more times passed I didn't feel anything. Normally if I do it perfectly then in 30 to 40 seconds, but it'd been a minute but I did not feel anything. I turned very happy seeing that. This means I had finally created enough seals that I won't have to do this exercise anymore. I was about to stop when I felt a slight resistance. I first thought it might be my muscle that is aching up, but I still decided to continue with my exercise. Thinking if this is normal muscle ache then it's fine, I will stop in a few seconds, but if this is the resistance it building then I want to see how high it is. As to keep performing the exercise, I found that the resistance is building, but it is more than 10 times slower than it used to be. When I used to perform this exercise before, I started to feel full resistance at 3rd to the 4th minute, and it will continue for 2 hours before it started to decrease, but it has been more than 5 minutes, but resistance keeps building in my body ever so slowly. Seeing that I increased the speed of my exercise but resistance speed only increase a little, there was not much change in its speed. If this going on then it would take me half before I started to feel the resistance that I used to feel and what I thought held true. In the half hour I started to feel the peak resistance that I used to feel before, but the amazing thing is, it's still increasing at its turtle speed. I would have stopped feeling its turtle-like speed, but I wanted to see how high the resistance it can build up. Time passed and here hour had passed and resistance had doubled and beads of sweat started to form on my temple, but amazingly the resistance is keep building. In the past hour, I perform this exercise 3 to 5 times a week except for when I go home. I used to do this exercise to relax and stretch my muscles. This exercise helped me a lot. It may not directly increase my speed, but it had always kept me fit and ready. That is why I kept performing this exercise whenever I have time, while those who learned this exercise stopped doing it a year ago. Another half an hour had passed and resistance is still increasing. It'd been 1/2 hour I have been performing this exercise and my body. All the clothes I am wearing became wet with sweat as I am feeling every cell in my body is tightening, that making movement harder and harder, but it is still at the level I can keep performing the exercise. If it had been before, this would have been my limit, but since the accident that happened a few days ago, there was a change in my mentality and my willpower has also increased. Time passed by and it has been 2 hours I had started performing the exercise. My muscles had become so tight that even moving them became difficult. Not only that, I am feeling very weak as this exercise tends to suck all the energy of the body. To cope with this resistance, I even started to circulate the Supreme Combat exercise, but it was no avail. That resistance I am feeling circulating Supreme Combat exercise is even greater than the resistance of Wind Slayer style, so I decided to stop circulating it and concentrated on physical exercise. 2 hours and 25 minutes had passed and only then I felt the resistance stopped increasing, but when I happened my speed of doing exercise slowed down to the limit that I perform an exercise at ant speed. My speed of performing exercise is very slow due to resistance being too great, but despite feeling it I kept performing the exercise. I wanted to see how much time did this resistance can go on. Another hour has passed, but there is no change in resistance. The only change is that I became very tired and making movement became difficult, but I kept going on. I can keep performing this exercise for 15 minutes most, but after I will be too tired to continue, I thought as I was performing the exercise. As I was performing, a thought came in my mind. I know that resistance I feel because my muscles became too tight that making movement became difficult, but that happens externally. I wanted to know what happens internally. Before leveling up, I was able to get a vague sense of what is happening inside my body, but now if I concentrate my mental energy a little, I can see what is happening in my body internally. Fuck. I was doing that out of curiosity. I did not expect to find much, but when I look internally, I couldn't help but shocked and cursed loudly. When I look inside my body, I found that a type of energy coming out of my body with each movement of exercise I do and then dive it back inside the skin. As I observed, I noticed that each time energy come out its quantity decreased a little. I had not noticed that first but noticed it when I kept observing for a while. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. It is like with every movement of my exercise, it kept merging with my body, and most interesting thing is, I knew this energy very well as because of this energy, I was nearly exploded a few days ago. It is berserk energy. I thought it is perfectly merged with my body with the help of seal of Supreme Combat and drop of daffodil bees honey that I drank, but I was very wrong. There is still very much berserk energy left in my body, very hidden. It wasn't able to do much to me because of my strong body and the special vitality of seals protecting my body, but if once it had increased beyond my body's control, it would have finished me with one move. I would have been able to notice this energy before if I had scanned my body with my mental energy with little efforts, but I was busy with that. It's not like this berserk energy come to my body after yesterday and all the energy from Master Stage Fiery Lion's core had been digested properly. I knew the flavor of each berserk energy very well. 92% to 95% berserk energy in my body is from Fiery Lion's core, while other 4% to 7% come from Specialist Core Monsters cores I ate yesterday. I am now tracking this progress of berserk energy every second and worry that I had now turned to happiness. I can feel that with every movement I make, the more berserk energy merge with my body, and seeing that all the tiredness I am feeling has gone away. I started to make my moves faster and faster to merge more berserk energy with my body. I can imagine what changes my body will experience when all the berserk energy merges with my body, but that will take time. There is still a lot more berserk energy in my body to completely merge. I will have to continue for more than 5 more, and I plan to do that. Time passed by as I kept performing the exercise. No matter how tired I felt, I kept performing it. I had sworn to myself that I will only stop when all the berserk energy merges with my body. Hours passed and it has been 9 hours since I am performing the exercise, but there is still some berserk energy left, seeing that I kept forcing my dead tired body to perform exercise no matter time I felt. At the 11th hour, I felt the resistance lessening and there is barely 2% of berserk energy left in my body. I kept performing the exercise to merge that last bit of energy in my body. Seconds passed like an hour as I kept forcing myself to perform the exercise by sheer will, as I had sworn that I will only stop when I merge every last bit of berserk energy in my body. The only good thing that dressing less very much, otherwise I would have not able to continue till now. Thud. Finally, the last bit of berserk energy merges with my body, and no matter how many movements I perform, no berserk energy came out of me merged back with my seeing. I finally let and crashed onto the floor with a thud. I lost my conscious right after that. The last thought in my mind is an excitement to see what type of strength will my body gain after this merging of berserk energy with my body. Chapter 287 Setting O. Ah. A slight scream came out of my mouth as I tried to lift my tired body, but due to the extreme soreness, I started to feel pain all over my body. Though the weakness is fading at the visible rate and I am also feeling relieved from soreness, but it will take 10 to 15 minutes to feel normal again. This is the first time I had spent so much time doing the exercise. The most time I've ever spent on it is 4 hours, but this time it is nearly 3 times more than that. After sitting up wincingly, I carefully concentrate my mental energy and start scanning my body. If I have done this before exercise, I would have seen a lot of berserk energy hiding in every part of my body, but now it is perfectly merged with my body. Oh. While checking my body with mental energy, I noticed that there is special green energy coming out. It was in very small quantity. If not, I had concentrated all my energy on one spot, I wouldn't even be able to see it. When I followed that energy, I noticed it was moving toward my temple into the seals I had in my temple space. That is when I understood that this is a special vitality is returning back to seals, and probably only because of this energy, I was successfully able to merge the berserk energy in my body. There was a whole lot of berserk energy in my body, but now it had all been merged, and I am very excited to see what kind of changes it brought to my body. Soon enough energy returned to my body that I was able to move, and muscle pain I was feeling lessened quite a bit. The first thing I did after gaining control over my mobility is to shower. Only after washing this tiredness out of would I be able to do anything. After taking a cold shower, I stood in the center of my tent. I would have loved to go outside and see the effect of merging, but I can't do that seeing the mayhem which happening outside. I started to move my hands and feet in slow rhythm, feeling the changes that brought within them. As I moved my body parts, one found that my muscles had before very flexible. The movement which was difficult for me due to flexibility now is easier to do. The most startling change that merging brought is defense and strength of my body had increased. I had used my sword and apply enough pressure that will cut my skin lightly and draw a little blood, but to my utter surprise, there was just a slight witch line. That surprised me quite a bit. I thought I would feel more resistance than normal, but did not expect that I will only able to draw a flesh line only. Not only that, when I tried punches and kick, the sound they made through air greater than previously, which means that my physical strength also increased. This is just the starting. As I kept eating and converting more monster cores, I will have more berserk energy left in my body. From it I can refine my body to make it stronger. The only thing I will have to do is create more seals of supreme combat exercise, as only because of special vitality provided by the supreme combat exercise is helping me successfully merge the berserk energy with the body. Otherwise, my body would have rejected refinement of the berserk energy. As for how Wind Slayer combat styles exercise helping merge the berserk energy in my body, it is done by a simple formula. If one can consider flour dough my body, then berserk energy is my body and exercise is the kneading process. So, simply what exercise does contract and deformed mine at the cell level. In this process, the cells are stretched to limit and left some gap between, then and berserk energy fit itself in those gaps. As my cells more contract deformed, the berserk energy then perfect spread equally in each cell with the help of special vitality released by seals of supreme combat exercise. The night had already come and there is absolute mayhem outside. Monsters are either fighting amongst themselves or forming the huge horde. I fast-forwarded the footage of past 12 hours and got a little disappointed. I thought waves of people should have come by now, but it turned out I was too optimistic. I will have to wait for a little more for that. Ashlyn didn't disturb me whole day despite feeling bored being cooped up in the tent. She is laying on the table with her eyes closed. I did not disturb her and take out cooking utensils and material out of my storage. There is still a lot more food remaining in my storage, but I got bored eating it twice, so I decided to cook a new dish for change of flavor. I started cooking while humming an old song, and in an hour the dinner is ready. I and Ashlyn ate till our stomachs full, and I slept not long after, seeing it is already late and I am still tired due to 11 hours exercise I did. When I woke up at dawn, I did what I am doing in the morning for the past 3 days, checking the footage. When I opened footage of I Turned Happy, things have finally started to heat up. I spotted humans in the footage and looking at quickly they had killed the monsters. They seem quite powerful. They finally started coming. I thought as I looked at the footage, now I just have to wait for a day or two and waves of human evolvers will descend on the Region 8 and slaughter will start. Closing all the footage, I started to all my morning activities. 3 more days passed in succession and it's been 4 days since I've been cooped up in my tent and did not take a step out. In these 3 I did only 2 things, reading and performing exercise, but mostly reading the totem books. As for the exercise, after the first time took me 11 hours to complete, all the other exercises I did after that had finished in half an hour. The resistance I felt due to the berserk energy in my body, and after that berserk energy is fully merged, there was no resistance. Today is the day I leave my tent. My plan is moving toward the spatial boundary in Region 8. It would take me 10 to 12 hours to reach. I hope by the time evening rolls in, I would be near the spatial boundary ready to cross it to enter the Region 9. For the last 3 days, there had slaughter happening across Region 8, till now quite lot monster would have been dead and also some humans. I finished freshening up and bath within half an hour and heat up the yesterday's night's leftovers. Soon we finished eating dinner and Ashlyn went inside me after I asked her to. We may come across some expensive herbs and even miracle fruit and mystical medicine, but we may also come across master stage and lieutenant stage monsters that could swallow Ashlyn in a single bite before I could do anything. So, it is best for Ashlyn to stay inside me, and unsurprisingly Ashlyn didn't reject me. She'd been very obedient for few days for some reason. I didn't dwell on it. I am way too happy seeing this unruly birdie listening to me. Gulp. I took out a piece of core from my storage and gulp it. It is a piece of corporal stage monster core which I had decided in 8 parts. As the core entered my stomach, I started to burning sensation as it started melting speedily, seeing that I concentrated all my energy into it. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. The berserk energy of corporal stage monster core is many times more powerful than the specialist stage monster core, but still, I'm barely able to control it. I will have to be careful about it, otherwise it will start melting speedily and I will have to waste time managing it, which I clearly did not have. Seeing everything is good, I get out of the cave and left toward the route I had decided on yesterday. Chapter 288, Setting Out to. The Region 8 is a region full of the hills. Wherever one looks he will find himself surrounded by small and big hills. Currently, I am running on the big hill, crossing it to reach the other side. In my way, I've come across many corporal stage monsters, but all of them were killed by the single swing of my sword. Till now, I haven't come across any sergeant stage and above stage monsters, but I know my luck isn't that good. I will meet them at some point. It would be fine if the monster is sergeant stage or master stage. One I can kill and from another one I can run, but if I come across the lieutenant stage monster, then even running away is going to be difficult. On top of that, monsters, Region 8 stronger than monsters of Region 7 by few percents due to the density of mana. The higher realm you go, the denser mana you will experience. It is mana density that makes monsters stronger. Not only a monster but humans would also become stronger if they started to live in the mana density places. It is said that the density of the central continent is very high, that even average adventurers their ability to reach the top of 12 stages and some even go realm after that. If average adventurers there could reach the top of 12 basic stages, then I can't imagine how high talented people can go. I used to think that all the rumors are fake, but Jim said most of I heard in the rumor is true, as his parents once been to the central continent a few years ago. He said that not everyone could go to the central continent. If one wants to go there, one have to cross the sea, and the sea is full of monsters that even those who reach the top stage of 12 basic stages can't contend against. If one wants to leave for the central continent, then they need the help of the organizations, as only organizations have the safe way to reach the central continent. Growl. Slice. A sudden growl helps me out of my thinking and I swung my sword instinctive, cutting the corporal level monster in 2. That was close. I thought with a sigh. I was too engrossed in my daydream about the central continent that I got distracted and failed to notice that the monster had come attacking me. If it had been master stage monster in its place, I would have been in great trouble. I had to be extra vigilant from now on and stop my daydream. Hearing about the rumors of the central continent, some sort of fascination had developed in my mind toward it, so, whenever I think about it, I got lost in its fantasies. Till now what I had heard the rumors, but soon I can weigh true or not. Jim had said that there are thousands of people from the awakening ground from the central continent. I can definitely ask them if the rumors are true or not. Fire strike. Thud. An hour after I left my tent, I come across the first sergeant stage monster, and after I kept coming across them every now and then, that I had just killed peak sergeant stage monster. It didn't take me more than 3 seconds to remove its core, and after that, I started my journey again. Many humans also could be seen now and then across the hills. Some were fighting the monsters while others running towards spatial boundary layer just like me. Some people were in the group while others were solo, but most of the people were in the group as Region 8 is too dangerous to be traversed in solo. Only those people traveled in solo in Region 8, who had confidence in their ability. Some were tried to talk to me join their group, but I rejected them. All of them who asked me were either at corporal stage or sergeant stage. There is no meaning me joining their group as most weaker than me or have ability equal to me. I had already decided that if I joined a group, it's already lead by master stage evolver, otherwise there is no meaning in joining them as my speed is already great and the only monsters that could pose a threat to me are peak master stage and lieutenant stage monsters. I saw many bodies of monsters on the way, but this is my first time seeing the dead body of a human in Region 8. It is not even a complete body, most are already eaten. Dub. I threw a fireball at it and the whole body started to burn, and in minutes, all that was left were artifact and ashes. I don't want to fish artifacts of the ashes, but I did that if I did not take that some else will, and I really need the money that comes from selling these artifacts, seeing all the artifacts are night grade 1. I wanted to buy a totem artifact after getting out of this realm, and for that, I will need the money. The refined mana cores I have is very precious and are used in totem making. I don't want to sell them if possible. After collecting the artifact, I again started to run, while running half of my focus on the way while another half on the monster core that is my stomach. Earlier, after I had eaten the monster core, I barely able to control it, but over time it is becoming a little easier. Time passed by and 2 hours passed since I had left my cave. In these 2 hours I come across 4 more bodies. Of the 2 were clearly looted, but the thieves did not have the dignity to burn the bodies. I may have taken the artifact from the bodies, but I at least have the audacity burn the bodies to ashes, not leaving them in a wild to be eaten by monsters. All the specialist monsters came across me killed. As for the master stage, I deliberately avoided, but still some of them just too persistent. Just 10 minutes ago I left behind the mid-level master stage monster that had been following me for the last 45 minutes. I still have the power to kill initial level master stage monsters of Region 8 despite them being clearly stronger than the same level of the monster in Region 6, but to those monsters who are above the initial level of master stage, I can do anything to them as their defense is damn strong and no matter which attacks launch at them. Even my trump card, that special bolt of fire strike, failed to pierce the defense of mid-level master stage monsters. So, I will have to be careful of them. Only 2 hours had passed since I left my cave and I am still in a relatively safe area. It will be quite dangerous as I get closer to the boundary. As I run through the hills I came across hundreds of people, and the only thing relived me that everyone I spotted, all of them is corporal stage or above. It looks like the organization put a limit on specialist stage evolvers to enter in Minerva Realm, or they are just being late due to their low power. When I entered the realm, there were more than 200,000 specialist stages entered the realm with. Even if organizations didn't allow any new specialists to come, there were still more than enough specialist stage evolvers in the realm already. They will surely be attracted to this opportunity in the awakening ground. I just hope that too many people won't die in their way. Climbing through the big hill I heard the sound of fighting. Hearing that I stopped climbing and took a detour around it immediately. It will take a few minutes more, but I will not have to fight the monsters. I have come across these scenes tens of times and this time is nothing new. As I was taking a detour, I found something is coming toward me speedily, and instinctively I activated my defense skill and expanded Mind Shide to the full size. Clank clank clank. Next moment hundreds of iron spikes clashed against shield, the impact of these iron spikes so strong that I had to take a step back despite having such body. I stayed on my spot without moving an inch to counter against any incoming attacks. I hate these wind range attacks most. One can even run away if want, as he will get hit by attack no matter he runs unless he is very fast. Shit. Soon the culprit walks out of trees with its eyes locked on me. I had already guessed it will be this monster, but seeing it, I couldn't help but curse. Iron-spiked hedgehog, one of the most annoying monsters of Region 8, this monster liked to skew its prey with spikes and one wouldn't even able avoid it seeing their quantity and the area they encompass. As for how dangerous they are, one can know easily seeing the wretched condition of trees around me. If I had the greater speed I have now, I would have run away as there would have been a chance to avoid its spikes, but now if I run away now, I would needlessly get injured over and it will surely follow me to the end. The best option is to kill it or injure it enough that it won't able to follow me, and I think I can go with both options seeing the monster is at only initial level of master stage. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. Chapter 289 Absolute Astonishment. Iron-spiked hedgehog mostly attack with long-range attacks, but believing it can't attack close range would be utter idiocy that can make one lose his life. It is one of the smallest master stage monsters I've ever seen in the Minerva realm, but that is only compared to other master stage monsters, as this monster is still 6 meters long. After every attack, new iron spikes produce on its skin, and whenever it sensed danger it would roll into a ball, and that time its defense would increase 3 times. Clank clank clank. Another shower of iron spikes came at me and clashed against my shield. This time I was much prepared and defended against the iron spiked without taking a step back. If I had experienced this attack before berserk energy merged into my body, I would have had to take at least 3 steps back, but now despite the intense shock of traveled in the body, I stood still without moving a step. My shield is expanded to full size and taking a lot of mana from me, seeing that I am not worried as currently, mana is the thing I most have. Squeal squeal. It squealed angrily seeing both of its attack failed and moved its spiked to attack me the 3rd time. I stood still on my place seeing that and did not move my shield. Iron-spiked hedgehog can attack 3 times consciously as new spiked start forming after its attack, but after attacking 3 times consecutively, the speed of forming spiked slowed considerably. That will be my time to attack. Not only will I be able to attack without worrying about the iron spikes coming at me, but after I attack and it was able to roll into a ball in time, its defense will be not as strong as its peak. Half the defense is due to those iron spikes on its skin. Clank clank clank. It launched and it spiked attack again, but this time it did something different. Not only it attacked me with its spikes, but it also came at me with its claws out. The master stage monsters are quite smart. This monster front of me knew that after it attacked the 3rd time, it will quite defenseless if its spiked didn't hit me, so it attacked me proactively. Even if its iron spiked attack failed, it can attack me with its claws, and that is more dangerous than its spikes, but unfortunately, it judged me wrong. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. Despite its good speed, it won't be able to come near me before I finished my attacks. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. I launched 3 special bolts of fire strike before it had crossed the half distance. Seeing 3 fire bolts coming toward it, it knew they were like threatening and rolled into the ball without thinking. Poochie. 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 3 special bolts of fire strike pierced through the iron armor of the monster without getting any obstructions. The only disappointing thing is that when it rolled onto the ball, the target of fire bolts shifted. Instead of attacking its head, they attacked its back. Squeeze. A long painful squeal could be heard from its body as my 3 bolts pierced its body. These fire bolts are very dangerous. Not only they pierced through the body, but as they enter inside, they released fiery heat which would burn whatever comes in its way. The fire bolts have become more dangerous after my fire ability got upgraded. Not only its temperature is raised, it even got slight sticky quality in it that makes my fire even more lethal. It had made a very big mistake rolling into the ball. Its defense may have increased this way, but it also made itself an open target, and now it had become a wooden board for me I have to hit. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. I launched 5 fire strike and all of them struck at the single point, and the next moment it stopped making a movement. 2 bolts would have been enough to kill it, but seeing iron spikes that coming out its body, thinking its defense would have been increased, I launched 5 bolts out precaution, leaving nothing to chance. Seeing it is completely dead, I moved toward it to take out its monster core. The battle may look like it had taken long, but it has finished in less than 2 minutes. While I was removing the core, I sensed 2 people coming toward me. I am surprised to see them, as already sensed them watching me when I was fighting the monster and has always been ready to defend if they decided to attack me. I calmly take out the core from the monster despite sensing 2 people behind me. Only when I removed the core out of monster body did I look at them. They were 2 people, a girl and a boy. Both of them looked about 2 years older than me. They both at the initial stage of the master stage, and from the sound I heard earlier are likely from them. Friend, you are very good to be able to kill the master stage monster at being corporal stage, said the boy in a jovial tone. I am Kieran and this is my friend Jenna, he introduced himself and the girl beside him. Michael, I replied. Michael, I am sure you would also going toward the boundary. We were wondering if you came with us. With you with us I don't think we will have to fear anything but lieutenant stage monsters, he said. Okay, I replied, what he said true. With 3 of us we won't have to fear any master stage monster, and looking at the Glass Knight's emblem and purple star mark below it, clearly shows they are elite of Glass Knight. With their power, they will able to kill initial and mid-level master stage monster, and with the power of 3 of us, we can even contend against the peak master stage monster. The only monster which can harm us is a lieutenant stage, but they are very few in the region, as only a few days ago restriction is lifted, so there is a very tiny chance of coming across it, and we really do come across it then it is our bad luck. Let's not waste time then, said Kieran, and 3 of us started to run toward the boundary. As we started running, I had to use my full speed just to match their speed. I had to use my speed skill with the limit and the strengthening skill, which gave a boost to my speed, only then I was able to barely maintain speed as theirs. I like the challenges and I am quite enjoying to push myself to the limit just to run the same speed as them. As we ran through the hills, many monsters came on our way, but they all got killed. Just after a half-hour later we came across the group of 7 master stage monsters with mid-level master stage monster as their leader, but the whole group of monster is finished by us within 30 seconds. Both of them quite powerful, being elite of their organization, and are very experienced, so we keep running toward our destination, cutting every obstruction that came in our way. Michael, were you already in the realm or came in with after the announcement is made? Asked Kieran while we were running. This is first time Kieran had spoken after he asked to join their group. I was in the realm, I replied. You guys? I asked back. We were outside and entered the realm after our organization informed us of the awakening ground, he replied, his voice is full of hope when he said the word awakening ground. How did the organizations informed you about this awakening ground? I asked. I so wanted to know about how the organizations this news outside, but didn't ask as that doesn't seem quite right, seeing as we are quite unfamiliar with each other, but now Kieran had launched this topic, now I can ask then without worry. Oh, they asked us to come to the branch wherever we are through emergency communication and explained that there is awakening ground opened in Minerva realm, and whoever able to grasp this opportunity will be made super elite no matter the cost. Well, looks like they didn't announce the whole detail about the awakening ground, but they didn't have to, as they had put the treat of super elite in front of the super elite are completely different. They are very powerful, and each and every person who entered the organization have dreamed of becoming one, but the conditions are very that barely 1 in 10,000 able to become one. So when their organization dangled the treat of super elite in front of them, they readily agreed to enter the realm without thinking how dangerous that journey is going to be. All of us went mad hearing this, and above 90% of people from corporal to lieutenant stage chose to go to this awakening ground. They even offered this specialist stage 1 condition: they have to take a test first. Only those who passed the test would be able to enter the real. I heard that the test is super hard, said Kieran. It was good that they only letting in the strong specialist stage evolve, or other there would be a clear slaughter of them after they entered region 6 and up. They didn't announce it to the adventurer? I asked casually. I really wanted to know if the organization announced this popularity and how the normal adventurers reacted to it. They did, in fact, they posted all to all the adventurers' paradise buildings across the con. Roar. AG is about to finish this sentence when heard roar abruptly. It was so loud and full of might that hair on all my body stood up. Without thinking, all three of changed the direction, ran toward the opposite direction, wanting to get away from the monster that made this roar. That roar is definitely not from Master Stage Monster, it is definitely from Lieutenant Stage Monster. Where are you running? We heard a feminine voice asking a question, and the next moment a 20-meter-long monster crashed in front of us. We were horrified seeing this. We are not horrified seeing the Lieutenant Monster but the gruesome injuries on Lieutenant Grade Monster, and next moment a cute girl about 15 years walked out of the forest holding lance that is too big for her size. If it were any other time I would have shouted adorable seeing a cute girl holding such big lance, but this time didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Little monster, you hand run enough, said the girl, and next moment she threw her lance at Monster, and Monster wanted to dodge the spear and started to run, but her spear was too fast that we weren't able to track it with our eyes. Poochie. Thud. We only heard the sound lance piercing the Lieutenant Stage Monster head, and next moment the monster fell down with a thud. We look at the 15-year girl and wonder as she was able to kill the Lieutenant Stage Monsters, but soon our expression turned that of absolute shock and thought that the monster is not the beast that is lying dead but the little girl who had killed the monster. Specialist Stage. This 15-year girl is just Specialist Stage and an initial level at that. How is this possible? Spoke Jenna stutteringly. This is the first time I hear Jenna spoke, but I can't care less about that as I am watching that 15-year monsters take out the lance out of the monster's head. Lily, why do you kill this poor defenseless monster? Another voice rang it out, and next moment I saw an extremely beautiful girl appeared next to a cute girl. Chapter 290 Questions. Lily, why do you have to kill this poor defenseless monster? Another voice rang it out, and next moment I saw an extremely beautiful girl appeared next to a cute girl. She appeared so suddenly that I felt like she had been teleported. This girl is extremely beautiful and looks about my age. She is wearing a knee-length sundress. There is not the article armor or weapon, just elegant sundress. It looked like she not in some dangerous region but in the park for a picnic, even though the younger girl also did not have a single artifact on her except for lance, but she look fine as she dressed in a black suit. I tried to sense the level of the beautiful girl, but there was not a single magical fluctuation coming out of her body. Sister, you saw that I just wanted it to be my ride but it tried to eat me, so I got angry and had to kill it, said the 15-year girl cutely. Don't act cute. You had your fun and you had to do the job that Grandpa told you to do, said beautiful girl in a sundress sternly. Why do I have to do the job of normal members? Complained 15-year girl and looked like she will sit right on the floor. Do you want me to tell that to Grandpa? Said the beautiful older girl with a serious face, but the smile could be seen hidden behind it. Don't tell Grandpa, sighed the younger girl hastily. Let's go, said the beautiful girl, but before leaving two of them gave us a glance before suddenly disappearing out of our sight. For more than a minute, no one spoke, but finally, silence is broken by Kieran's stuttering voice. Is this not dream right? Kieran asked stutteringly. Both I and Jenna shook our head. This is no dream but reality. That younger girl is a demon, said Jenna, and I couldn't agree more. That young girl is just a specialist at the age, but she was able to kill the Lieutenant Stage Monster effortlessly. I could still remember the terror in the eyes of that monster as it crashed in front of us. We could clearly see the injuries on Monster's body, and each and every one of its injuries was serious. I have never heard of any specialist stage who could kill Lieutenant Stage, and the way that killed this monster, don't think that even used half of her strength. She is not from the West Blood City and definitely not from the country we live in. Hell, even our continent have no ability and resources to train such monster. The only place she could be from is the central continent. I quickly come out my thought and walk toward the dead Lieutenant Stage Monster's body. It may be dead, but it is radiating the might of the Lieutenant Stage Monster. Caressing my hand on its wound, I found they are exceptionally smooth, smoother than a hot knife through butter. One can guess a lot from the wound. just seeing how smooth the wound is and how easily it able to cut the very defensive skin of the lieutenant stage monster. I close my eyes and use my hand to get a better feel of the smooth cut of the wound, but suddenly a completely foreign sensation assaulted my mind. It felt like hundreds of lances stabbing in my mind. I took the sharp breath, feeling that pain. The good thing is that it only lasted for a second. If it would have lasted more, I wouldn't have able to bear it. What happened? Kieran and Jenna asked the same time, hearing me taking a sharp breath of pain. I shook my head internally, hearing their question, as I also not sure on what to tell them. Would you guys minding the touching the wounds on monster's body with your full concentration? I asked. This all I could ask them to do, to find an answer for their own question. Only they will understand if they were able to feel that foreign sensation. See? Ah. They first looked at me frowningly but did what I told them to, and second later I heard sharp sound, both of them. Do you goose felt it? I asked. They both nodded. It's like hundreds of lances stabbing in my mind, rep Jenna. This feeling I had just felt now feels completely foreign. I had never felt anything like this before, Kieran said, and we both nodded. Maybe this feeling is key to the power that possessed used. You both should have guessed that the girl is not from our city or country. Even our continent does not have the ability and resources to create such a monster, so the only place she could come from is so-called awakening ground organizations talked about, I said. Everyone is intelligent, they can quickly assert, whereas both girls from which the level of the power they possess. If I were able again quarter of such power, then super elites would be a king to ants in front of such power. Our eyes could be seen shining with hope as we imagine how good it would be if we were able to gain such power. I once touched the wounds of monster many times to feel that sensation and felt stabbing pain in my mind, but as the time passed by the power started to fade till can't cause it anymore. Before leaving, I cut out a large chunk of meat from the lieutenant stage monster. I had always wanted to taste how lieutenant stage monster's meat tastes like. It is a good thing there were so many wounds on monster's body, so cutting meat out of became little easier, but still, I had to use my strengthening skill at full power for 5 minutes before I could cut out this meat under its very hard skin. Kieran tried to take out the core lieutenant stage monster, but he was unsuccessful first time. Only when Jenna helped him did he able to take out its core. We soon resumed our journey after taking out whatever we need the monster's body. Half the journey had already finished. If we come across no powerful monster, then we should be able to reach our destination in 5 to 6 hours. This time while running we didn't talk much, all of us busy thinking about what we experienced a few hours ago. In my mind, scene of that younger girl attacking kept playing over and over. Her lance was so fast that even my eyes wasn't able to catch the sight of her lance. I only able to see her throwing her lance, and next moment that lance pierced through the skull of the monster. It's like she just teleported. It was so fast that my eyes weren't even able to catch the after images of that lance, and the baffling thing is I didn't even hear the sound. It's common knowledge that when an object through the air, it creates friction and that in turn produce small sound. Even we are making a sound as we are running at high speed. The only exception is having AIE elemental ability, but I am sure she did not use air elemental ability when she threw her lance at the monster. Now, the only explanation is that the lance is either teleported in the monster skull, or that spear, which is clearly totem artifact, is special, or she used some kind of power to silence her attack. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. When I think about that, I couldn't help but feel a headache. I am way out of the league that I didn't have sufficient data to make a conjecture. Just thinking about the simple attack making my head hurt. So, I didn't dare to think about teleportation like the speed that girl in white has. Time passed by and we got closer and closer to the boundary till we were able to see it with our eye. In this journey we hundreds of monsters as well as people, not only alive but dead also. We burned all the corpse we come across and took a turn on the artifact, the body posses. Now that the boundary is a few minutes away, and if my luck is good then in 2 days, I will be able to reach that awakening ground that I made this dangerous journey for. Chapter 291 New Sword. Boundary. I thought out loud as I stopped in front of the spatial boundary. After crossing I will reach the region 9. See you in the awakening ground, Michael, said Kieran, and walk into the spatial boundary. Jenna just nodded before waking into the boundary. I took a sigh and activated my defense type skill. I hope I would transport somewhere near the entrance of Awakening Ground as I took the step into the spatial boundary. Surrender, Martin. You had broken rules of Awakening Ground, and if not for your organization is a subsidiary of our Wisdom Tower, we would have already killed you without talking. I heard the voice as I transformed to Region 9. I found myself in a large clearing, and just 10 meters ahead of me 4 people stood in front of each other. 3 people in aqua blue gear seemed to surround a boy in gray clothing. The boy in gray clothing is mid-level of master stage, while the other 3 which surrounded him at the peak of corporal stage. All 4 of them wearing the best gear I've ever seen, and the weapons they are holding in their hands are all totem artifacts. I just broke a few bones of his, just for that you guys chased me for hours, said Boy Martin angrily to the 3 people. Violence is prohibited in the Awakening Zone, no matter how small it is. The rules set by Wisdom Tower cannot be broken, said the leader of the 3 in black. A look of pride could be seen on his face when he mentioned the name Wisdom Tower. That is when I noticed the emblem of Majestic Tower and the book on the chests of the 3 people. The 3 people from their looks did not seem worried as they looked at their opponent, who 2 stages higher. One can say they even looking down on him. Even lowest level members of Wisdom Tower dare to look down on me. If I didn't beat the shit out of you for that, then my name wouldn't be Martin, said the boy in gray Martin as he lifts his sword and attacks toward the leader of 3. The leader of 3 people gripped the 2 long knives in his hand tightly and disappeared from his spot before Martin could even take a single step. What happened next shocked me more. That young girl killing Lieutenant Stage Monster did. Martin, who was just about to take steps, stilled on his spot. I saw green blur appear in front of him the next moment. Spur, spur, spur. When the blur is fully materialized, I saw Martin stilled with an extremely shocked face, as the red line started appearing all across his body, and the second later streams of blood started to spur from his body. Clank. I looked more shocked than the Martin who just experienced the attack on him. The thing brought me to myself as clinking sound, and when I looked down only to see the red sword-type totem artifact that Martin was holding somehow left his hand and crashed beside my feet. I felt scared of seeing the sword. I did not even dare to move and look away from the sword. If they thought I was eyeing the sword, got angry, then I would be dead before I know it, but to my surprise no one is looking at me or sword by my feet. All their focus is on the Martin. Even if we are lowest level members, we are still members of the supreme level organization. Finishing 100 like you won't be a problem for us, said boy in aqua blue suit in pride as they started to walk, and to my utter surprise Martin followed behind them while gulping the potion bottle. In a few seconds, all 4 of them soon disappeared from my view. What just happened? I asked myself blankly when I arrived. That Martin seemed high and mighty and refused to surrender, but after taking an attack from the boy he followed them on his. Hun. That is when I noticed that sword that left the Martin's hands is still beside my feet. I waited for a few seconds, then tentatively picked up the sword. I felt scalding hot the moment I picked it, but soon the sensation faded, but the sword still felt very warm though. This sword looked like it was made of red metal, is about 1.1 meters long and has 4 cm blade with slightly curved at the edges, which made it look very delicate, but this is anything but delicate. It is perfect for cutting, hacking, and piercing maneuvers and is of perfect size. I completely fell in love with it at first sight. Just as I was admiring this beautiful sword, I sensed an immense threat to my like. Instinctively I gripped the sword tightly and activated Fire Strike to launch the attack. The mana circulated inside me and then transferred it to fire-type energy through my command. The concentrated fire came out of my spread inside the sword to be concentrated again to convert it into the bolt. When the bolt converting on the sword, I felt something inside the sword lit up and it started to provide the amplification of power to the firebolt that being made. Fire Strike. It may look like a few seconds has passed, but barely second had passed as a special bolt of Fire Strike shot through my totem artifact. Poochie. When I launched the Fire Strike, I saw a buffy-looking boy with a heavy sword coming at me. He had several skills activated and intent to kill in his eyes, but sadly he will not able to finish his intentions toward me as my firebolt had appeared from his face and pierced through it. Thud. He fell on the floor with a thud with a bloody hole between poking through his left eye. I am not surprised to see him die, even without enhancement of totem artifact. My special bolt of Fire Strike is capable of piercing through the defense of Sergeant Stage Powerhouse. It is master stage. It had a problem with only fighting with the master stage evolver. Would I able to see how much enhancement I had given to my attacks? I wouldn't have to wait for that long, as I can sense gazes of 3 people on me. If one of them is the master stage and dare to attack me, then I will able to see the true power of this totem artifact. Storage. I gasped when I was taking off artifacts off Fatty. I had never guessed that the Fatty would have a storage type artifact. Earlier in Region 8, we came across the body that had storage, but it was Jenna's turn to take the loot, the dead body. I was a little jealous seeing her getting storage, but now I also got one. I so wanted to check what's in the storage, but this is not the right time as some wolves have been staring at me hungrily. I placed the sword by my waist and opened the map to check which part of Region 9 I am transported to. When I compare the map to my surroundings, I did not find any familiar mark which will help me identify my location. I started walking toward the north while being extremely vigilant, as I know they can attack me at any moment. Extremely. I so want to admire my new sword, but this is not the time. After walking for 15 minutes did I spot the familiar lake which images I had seen in the map. The entrance of the Awakening Ground is just 4 hours away from here. As long I did not come across any lieutenant stage monsters, then I have no fear in Region 9, even if monsters here stronger than that of Region 8. I started to run toward the entrance while accurately sensing I am followed behind by 3 people. I hope they attack soon, so I can test the power of my new, and I didn't have to wait for long as 5 minutes in the running. I saw 3-meter wind blade coming at me. Wind Cleave. This is Wind Cleave, a very famous wind elemental skill which is known for its lethality. It's so sharp that if this launch by master stage evolvers, then it will slice me into 2 parts despite me having knight grade armor and protection of defense type skills. I had already expected the attack, that is why shield had been ready. I had already started expanding my shield to the limit and fed it even more mana so it could provide me with its apex defense. Thud 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 thud. The 3-meter wind blade clashed against my shield and I felt immense shock that I had to take several steps back to diffuse the force. Other than taking steps back, that attack did not do anything to me. Soon a thin-looking boy in his 20s came out. As I sensed his power, though no wonder his wind cleave is powerful, as he is mid-level of master stage. He looked very shocked seeing his sneak attack wasn't able to do anything to me, but quickly controlled his expression seeing I am looking at me. Friend, if you give me tote. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. Fire strike. Before he could complete his sentence, I launched 10 special bolts of fiery strike, completely sealing his any chance to escape. I knew what he wanted to say, and seeing undisguised greed in his eyes, I knew he would not be stopped till he will get this totem artifact from me, and killing me is the best option to do that. So, I did not hesitate and give my all attacking him. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. He was a little surprised to see me attacking him before he could finish his sentence, but he quickly reacted, not only activated his defensive skills but also activated his shield. Hun. I was surprised when I saw his blue shield, a mid-level knight grade artifact, I thought. Seeing the knight grade shield in his hand, I became even more excited. With this totem enhancement, my attacks became very stronger. Even if he is master stage evolver, my special firebolt which launched through my totem artifact, but now it is mid-level knight grade shield. I really want to see if my attack able breach its shield's defense or not. Puck. Puck. He avoided my fire bolts expertly. He did not disgrace his master stage, but my 2 bolts collided against his shield and stopped. Seeing that, smile appeared on his face, but that smile lasted on his face for a moment as my fire bolts passed through his shield and pierced his body. Absolute shock appeared on his face as my bolts pierced through his waist and shoulders. I thought he would collapse on the floor seeing how my firebolts melt the inside of the body, but to my utter surprise, he suddenly turned and ran away in the forest while I kept looking at the direction he ran away dumbly. Chapter 292 Testing Power. I look at him dumbly as he ran away. I thought his lust for totem artifact was too great that he will fight till last, but who would have thought that he still has some intelligence hidden behind that greed? He must have thought it would be impossible for him to take this totem artifact from me, and he might even lose his like in next attack despite having a defensive mid-level shield. Sigh. I would have been able to kill him even if he was running away, but I was too surprised to see him running away that I forgot to attack. There is no use mulling over a mistake, I thought, then suddenly came to mind that 2 gazes I was feeling on me had also disappeared. They finally left. I thought the other 2 would also launch an attack in a bid for the sword, but looked like they lost a will, seeing how mid-level Master Stage tucked his tail and ran away after taking an attack from me. Piercing through mid-level Knight grade shield is a really big thing, especially as it is wielded by the Master Stage Evolver. Seeing nobody is following me, I resumed running while still being vigilant, as there are many people who are expert in hiding their presence. I didn't want to let my guard down and get killed. The boy in black was really powerful. Despite having a difference of 2 stages, he had beaten his opponent before he could even take a step. The most amazing thing I found about him is his control over his weapons. He had carved tens of lines of blood across his opponent before he could even react, and those lines on blood were not threatening, as Martin seemed fine except for being utterly shocked being defeated in a single move. To be able to have such control over his blades to carve such non-threatening like before opponent could react, he must have worked very hard. Compared to his weapon mastery, mine looked like a boy who just swings a sword without technique or skill. Hearing their conversation, I understood that the boys who were wearing aqua blue suits are from the very powerful organization, and Martin's organization is a subsidiary of that organization called Wisdom Tower. After an hour of running, I deactivate my Knight grade defense type skill. Having 3 skills activated continuously for an hour is very stressful. Even if I have unlimited mana, the mental energy needs to maintain 3 skills is immense. I would last for another hour if not for me controlling the monster core and its berserk energy in my body, which I had to constantly keep covered that monster core with my mental energy, as it would not melt quickly if I did not do that. Then I will have more berserk energy than I need, making havoc in my body. When I entered the region 9, I had my strengthening and defense type activated, so is my Knight grade mask that made my face difficult to see, especially those who are far away from me. That is also one of the reasons that I didn't follow my attacker earlier. Even if they spread the news that I got totem artifact of people from the central continent, there will be not much effect to me, as they didn't saw my face. As for the red totem artifact, there are many in the country, so, as long as I didn't brandish openly before I have enough strength, then I will be fine. 2 more hours passed, and in this 2 more hours, the strongest monster I have come across is initial level Master Stage. I was hoping to fight against mid or peak level Master Stage monster, but I didn't come across any. Normally on the journey to the boundary, I come across many mid and peak level Master Stage monster, but now when I need for a fight, it's like they had suddenly disappeared. My journey had nearly finished. Within an hour I will reach the entrance of Awakening Ground. Another body. I said in my mind, this is the 14th body I had seen in Region 9, most of them died by monsters' hands, but some of them died by humans. Of the 14 bodies I had seen, only 2 of them were not robbed, but in those bodies, I did not find storage. I even checked the 12 already robbed bodies in case they had forgotten to check it, but no such luck. I hope this one has storage with him, I thought as I stopped near the body and started to take out all the artifacts on the body. After taking out all the artifact, I moved my hands toward the pockets, really hoping to find storage. Yes. I shouted in my mind as I found the storage in body's left pocket. I had first checked the right pocket of body, and finding it empty I got a little disappointed and did not have much hope to find in the left pocket. As most of the people use their right pocket to keep the storage, but luckily this one kept his storage in his left pocket. This second storage I got from the dead body, the first one was from the Buffy-looking guy that I killed. I wanted to take a look at what is in storage but stopped myself, this is not the place. I will see what's in them after I reached a safe place, I thought as I burned the body to ashes and resumed my journey. It was just 5 minutes after I looted the body when I come across the Peak Master Stage monster, and seeing me it ran toward me speedily with its stinger pointed at me. It is Ice Venom Scorpion. I had read about these monsters. This monster is quite dangerous, just simple touch of its stinger could kill the Master Stage Evolver. The reason it called Ice Venom Scorpion because the venom it freezes the person from inside, and it took just a few seconds for the venom to act, so I have to steer clear of its venom while fighting, otherwise I will freeze before I could do anything. Screech. It came toward me with a loud screech, seeing that I waited for it to come close enough. Fire strike! Fire strike! Fire strike! I launched 3 special bolts of the fire at the scorpion. All 3 bolts are aiming at monster's herd. Poochie poochie pook! Seeing the fire bolts coming toward it, it stopped on its track, and just when the fire bolts were about to strike its head, it moved its head at last minute, avoiding all 3 bolts. The bolts completely missed its head and pierced toward its shoulder. My bolt did not feel any obstruction as they pierced through the herd skin of Peak Master Stage Monster. If I had launched this attack with my Knight Grade sword, it would have just made a scratch on it, but with the enhancement of Totem Artifact, it was easily able to pierce through it. So, killing it is not a problem as long as I was able to hit its head. Then this time I will launch so many fire bolts that I will be in no condition to dodge my attacks. Screech! Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. It screeched loudly as it comes toward me with fury in its eyes. I had been completely prepared for its incoming attack. Fur sky steps. I had ignited the fire jets under my feet and jumped high. After that I activated sky steps and took another jump, so, even if it jumped with its huge body it won't be able to reach near me. Fire strike! Fire strike! Fire strike! Before it could do anything, I released the shower of fire bolts at it. By the time I finished, I am feeling quite tired mentally and also exhausted the monster core inside my body. Poochie poochie poochie! It got quite successful dodging some of the firebolts by moving its neck agility, but there were too many of them as one firebolt finally hit its head and next second his head 2 more firebolts. Thud! When I landed near the monster, I found the white liquid mixed with blood dripping from its head. I look at the monster and marvel. I had launched about 16 firebolts, but this monster was able to dodge 8 of them with its agility before it got hit by the first firebolt. If it had been a little bit faster, it would have surely able to dodge all the firebolts that were aiming at its neck. I really can't underestimate these peak level master stage monster. Even if I have Totem Artifact, they can kill me if I am not vigilant enough. Chapter 293 Awakening Ground. If my strengthening skill activated, I moved my scarlet sword toward the heart of the monster to take out its core, but before that, I will have to cut the hard defensive skin of the ice venom scorpion. I started to feed the mana to the sword, but to my utter surprise, no matter how much mana I fed, it never reached its limit. Normally Knight Grade artifact reach their limit after you feed it enough mana, but this sword kept guzzling mana. It seemed like it had an insatiable hunger for mana. The only indication the sword showing that it is guzzling the mana that it is faintly glowing. The more mana I feed, the brighter it glows. The glow is not bright but very faint. One can see its glow gets brighter as I kept feeling it more mana. Seeing slow speed its brightness increasing, I think I will have to continuously feed it the mana for more than a day before I could make it glow brighter. Well, it's a good thing for me. If I ever accidentally ate the core which I can't handle, then I can speedily convert the berserk energy to mana and feed it to the sword. I knew that Totem Artifact takes a lot of mana to power up, but did not expect they need this much amount of mana. After continuously feeling it mana for 5 minutes, I stop and look at the sword excitedly. It is glowing very faintly, but I can feel its power had increased many times. Gasp! When I moved my sword to cut the defensive skin of Ice Venom Scorpion, I was shocked to find that the sword went after initially feeling a slight obstruction, and surprising thing is I didn't apply much force on it as I should, to cut the Peak Master Stage monster's defensive skin. This Totem Artifact stronger than I thought, I said as I effortlessly took out its monster core from its heart. I resumed my journey after I collected its venom from its stinger. The venom of monsters are expensive and many times more expensive, especially special venoms like this Ice Venom Scorpion. The rest of the journey was pretty much uneventful as the closer I got toward the entrance, the more people I came across. When I reached near the boundary of Awakening Ground, I found thousands and thousands of people who are coming from every direction of the Region 9 entering the spatial boundary. Aspirations and dreams could be clearly seen in their eyes as they crossed the boundary. My heart also started to thump loudly looking at the boundary. After crossing this boundary, I will come across the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. An opportunity like this rarely come across our continent. Like the thousands of people, I came in front of the spatial boundary of the awakening ground and took a step inside it. Gasp. What I saw me take a gasp directly. There is a sea of tents in front of me, thousands and thousands of tents could be seen, there must be over 100,000 tents in here, but that is not what made me gasp. What made me gasp? Mountain far away which is emitting the suppression might. The mountain is very tall and seems the center of the sea of the tent. The gigantic mountain had stairs carved on it, there is not a single part of the mountain which had no stairs. On the stairs, thousands of ant-like people could be seen climbing, they are likely reaching for the palace-like structure that is at the tip of the mountain. I am very far away from the mountain, but I can still feel the majesty of it. It felt like this mountain is alive as it keeps releasing the might that seems to suppress my very soul. Thank God the suppression is very light, if it had been higher then I wouldn't be able to walk. The night is very beautiful under light of a full moon and stars, under this night sky people could be seen everywhere. Not only the people in aqua blue gear could be seen making the rounds now and then, wherever they passed people give them space on their own, respect, awe and envy could be seen in people's eyes whenever they looked at the people in blue gear. These people who seem to guard this place are from the same organization as the 3 people whom I come across in Region 9. Here I am on my own. Jim only said that I will able to comprehend some rule power after passing the test, this all he said. He did not explain what rule power is or what test I have to pass to gain that power. Sigh, taking a sigh I started to walk randomly, all the people here seem to be from the central continent. From the gear they are wearing and how brazenly they are showing their totem artifact and tents which seemed even better than Jim's, all this indicates that they are from the central continent. Every now and then new people could see transported and whoever transported seemed to come from Region 9, I have never seen anyone from the central continent people appear suddenly. They must have a stable entrance to this realm. Since I didn't know anything, I decided to listen to conversations that are happening around me. If I listened enough, I will know all I need to know. I slowed down my pace of walk and started listening to the conversation of people. As I walk I started to pick a few things from the conversation. These people from the central continent the same language as ours but the accent they spoke is very different from us, it felt very exotic. I had to keep listening to their conversation for 2 hours before I could understand the reality of this realm. It turns out what Jim said is true, it's just that he provided too little information. When I connected what Jim told me and what I learned from listening to the conversations of those from the central continent, everything became crystal clear. It turns out this one of the awakening grounds of the Wisdom Tower, a supreme-level organization in the central continent. This Wisdom Tower is one of the strongest organizations in the central continent and is neutral in nature. People of Wisdom Tower always remain neutral but they are benevolent and does not discriminate in their teaching as long as it does not involve their secrets. This awakening ground is King Great Awakening Ground, also the highest stage Wisdom Tower opened for general public and Wisdom Tower rarely open their kind Great Awakening Ground to the general public. They seem to be in awe whenever they talk about this King level Awakening Ground but at the same time also very anxious as it very hard passes its test. The test is very simple, one just have to climb the mountain and reach the top and one will get the chance to comprehend the power of the rule but climbing the mountain is not a simple thing. The test is so hard that only 4 to 5 people out of 1,000 people able to pass. The test is tested one's mental and physical fortitude. One stage did not affect the result as they will bear pressure according to their level. When I heard that I got very startled at this test for so difficult for them that only 5 people of 1,000 can pass then it will be near impossible for us. I even heard quite interesting new that most people talking about. It is said that those who can pass the and comprehend rule will qualify for the membership exam of Wisdom Tower. It is said that exam to join Wisdom Tower is many times harder than this test, but to these people that is enough as just that chance will open countless opportunities for them. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates, better experience please click for visiting. These people in aqua blue gear are a lowest level member of Wisdom Tower but each and everyone then had passed the exam of Wisdom Tower. They may be lowest level members of Wisdom Tower but their one move is enough to crush any elite of their organization. That is very whenever they looked at people wearing aqua blue respect and envy both could be seen in their eyes. As for what rule is, it is the power that runs this world, there are thousands, millions of rules, no one knows, but the rules exist everywhere. The rules can be elemental type like water, fire, earth, etc., or weapon types like a sword, spear, knives, lance, or concept type light cutting, piercing, killing, etc., and different other types. If one wants to explain in simple words, then whatever we do or think is rule, and if one able grasp or comprehend this power, one can become powerful beyond imagination. What Jim had said true, if private stage comprehends rule to the highest level, then he even kills the strongest powerhouse of the world. The power of rule transcends stages, but normally only those who had crossed the 12 basic stages comprehend the rule, but there is always an exception, and Awakening Ground is one of such. In the palace at the top of the mountain, there are 237 objects are placed in the 237 halls. These objects are mainly totem artifacts of king-level powerhouses, and these objects emit power of rule that king-level powerhouse comprehended. As long as one concentrates on it, then one will have a chance to comprehend rule power that the object is emitting. Chapter 294 Inheritance. That not all, I've even heard that if one's comprehension is high enough, then one can see the memories of that king stage powerhouse through the totem, and if one got even lucky, then he could even obtain the legacy of that king stage powerhouse through the memories stored in that totem artifact. I did not know what king stage powerhouse is, but the expression worship I saw on their face, I can say that the king stage powerhouse is very powerful. There are many things I heard that I did not understand or understood only a small part of it, that thinking about them making my head hurt. Well, I am happy just given chance. These Wisdom Tower people are really good. If they wanted, they could have easily blocked the boundary and we would not able to an Awakening Ground, but they did not. They treated us like the rest of people from the central continent without discrimination. I heard that many people were not happy with it and went to complain, but when they had returned with all their bones broken. It is in Wisdom Tower's maxim that to teach without the discrimination, it's said to be coming from the founder of Wisdom Tower itself. My head is starting to hurt a little. I have been awake for 18 hours and feeling very hungry. I quickly have to find a place to pitch my tent and eat before sleeping. I was in luck that Ashlyn is sleeping inside me. If she were awake, she blasted my ears with chirp for feeling hungry. These people of Wisdom Tower were really helpful. They had placed a map on every intersection, so I can see where the people from my continent staying. After 15 minutes walking, I saw the thousands of cheap tents in a neat line. Once in a while expensive tent like Jim's could be seen. It's not like our tents are cheap, it's just that tents that the people from the central continent have are really great compared to their tents. Our tents do seem cheap. I activated my tent in open space in a neat line like others. Tents have to be in a straight line and with a distance of 2 meters between them. It is one of the rules of the Awakening Ground. Like map, these people also projected rules of the Awakening Ground at every intersection between tent blocks, and there is different punishment for every rule. If I did not pitch my tent according to direction, then I will receive a flogging. These people do enforce the rule. While coming here, I saw 2 people being flogged. New people could be seen every few seconds. The area around my tent was empty a minute ago, is now filled with tens of new tents. Only 6 days had passed since I came to know about the Awakening Ground, and 5 days since the various organizations and government opened gates of Minerva Realm. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. So, people are still coming. Their number will increase exponentially in 2 to 3 days' time. After activating my camp, first thing I did is take a quick shower and wore normal clothes. There is no need to wear training suit or armor in Awakening Ground. No one dares to lift a hand, much less kill, in the territory of Wisdom Tower. I have to commend to that Martin, as he broke the rules. He survived because his organization was a small subsidiary of Wisdom Tower, otherwise, he would have been killed. I took out Lieutenant Stage Monster's meat from my storage and started to cook it. This is the first time cooking it and quite excited to see how will it taste. Choo choo. Ashlyn came out and chirped excitedly as she saw me cooking Lieutenant Stage Monster meat. It took me more than an hour to cook the dish, but it finished. I couldn't control the saliva off my mouth. I quickly served myself and Ashlyn. When I took my first bite, I could help but make the sound. It was delicious. It is delicious with soft spicy flavor. As I was eating the food, I started to feel heat in my body. I just ate half a plate, but I already started to feel the heat. I soon finished my plate and did not take a second serving as I already felt full just eating a single plate. Ashlyn also did not ask for the second plate like she usually does. After she finished her plate she lay on her stomach and closed her eyes. Sleep started to elude when I was cleaning the plates, but I controlled it. It's been nearly 20 hours since the last time I slept. It would have been fine if I sleep day or two, but these 20 hours were quite stressful both physically and mentally. Due to that I am feeling very sleepy. I fell asleep just as my head touches the pillow. The sleep was uneventful and dreamless. I felt quite relaxed in body and mind when I woke up. I slept for a little more than 9 hours. After waking up I did my morning activities and took a long shower before wearing normal clothes. Today I just plan to explore this awakening ground and listen to the people's conversation. As for the test, I will attempt it tomorrow. I would climb the mountain today, but I controlled myself as I know only basic about the test and its full details. I plan to explore this awakening ground today and listen to the conversation, only knowing after all the details about the test will I attempt it. I heard yesterday that it is fair. I decided to check it and see if I could buy the information about the test. What I know is basic. It will be best if I could complete information which will help solve my doubts. Ashlyn had already woken up when I was showering and is waiting for her meal. I quickly heated the leftovers of yesterday. We finished our lunch quickly and went out of the tent with Ashlyn on my shoulder. Yesterday when I entered this realm was asleep. She only wakes up in a time of the dinner. She didn't have time to explore this realm yesterday, but now that we have come, she is looking around curiously everywhere, but soon her gaze focused on the mountain. She kept her eyes focused on the mountain for a minute before looking away while I roamed the area where people from West Blood is staying, but I saw no familiar faces. When I saw the logo of Jim's organization of some people chests, I asked them about Jim, hoping they knew about him, but they have no idea who is, as they are not from West Blood City branch but from some other branch of his organization. I walk away and started to roam the sea of tents. There is no chaos here. Everything is well organized and no one dares to make trouble as they fear the guards in blue. I continue to explore while listening to the conversation of the people. Most of it is useless to me, like their gossip and rumor mongering, but not all was wasteful, and I learned a lot from hearing their conversations. As I was walking, I heard a very interesting conversation, and when I connected to tidbits I heard yesterday and today, I come to know a piece of very interesting and shocking information. This information is very common knowledge in Central Continent, but to people like me is shocking. Jim and Jill may have idea about it as their parents are high places in the organization, but I have no idea about it. The thing they talk about, inheritance or inheritance crystals. I heard this term yesterday and today, but I only able to connect the dots now after hearing that conversation. Inheritance is the thing one needs if one wants to level up from the 12 basic stages. Every inheritance can take you to the legend stage, which is the highest stage one can reach in the world, but some inheritance is good and some inheritance is bad. There are thousands of type of inheritances, but best ones are in the hands of supreme level organizations' hands, and because of these extremely powerful inheritances, they are so powerful. Chapter 295 Information. These inheritance are stored in the special crystals. The lowest level inheritance crystal cost 1 refined core, while the highest level can't be brought with the crystal. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. I roam around the tents for more than an hour before I decided to go toward the fair. The people say it is a small fair, but seeing a number of the people, the fair will be anything but small. The fair is organized very near the mountain, so going there I can also take a look at the mountain, which I am planning to take a look tomorrow. Gasp. I had to walk for an hour before I could reach the fair, but I reached it. I couldn't help but gasp. I did not let out a gasp seeing the fair, which is bigger than I imagined, but I let a gasp seeing the mountain. I thought there is something inside it which exert mental and physical on one as one climb higher, but I was so wrong. This mountain is running sculpture. On every part of runes are carved. Every stair is carved with runes, and these runes, due to some unexplainable equation with each other, which in turn release the suppressing pressure. In this mountain, higher on climbs, more pressure one has to bear. This mountain is about 3,000 meters tall and has about 2,900 steps. Every step increases the pressure, and sometimes the pressure became so hard for someone to bear that they directly fainted. These fainted people will directly be disqualified and never able to attempt the test in this awakening ground. Most people climb down if the pressure became too much for them. In this way they can attempt this test again. I can see thousands of people climbing the mountain with excited expression while those who were climbing down tired and dejected. From what I heard, seniors of people here advise them to climb the whole mountain in one go because it is very hard to climb in the second time that first for some reason. Tomorrow I will climb the mountain. It will be very hard, but if I tried hard enough then I can definitely reach the top and enter the palace to comprehend the rule power. Sighing, I look away from the mountain. There is no need to think about tomorrow. I will think about when I climb the mountain tomorrow. The fair in front of me is bigger than I had imagined. There are thousands of shops which are selling different type of things. When I looked at the things they are selling, I became quite shocked because the things which are casually placed here are extremely rare in the West Blood, such as totem artifacts and totem making materials, and their prices also little cheaper than that of the West Blood. There are three in which one can buy and sell stuff here. First is the most common and ancient bartering. One can barter with stuff he has or they need. Second is mana cores, which are universally accepted currency, but very few from West Blood have it, especially those below the master stage. The third and last way is wisdom credits. It is the currency of Wisdom Tower. One can easily obtain the wisdom credits after selling one's stuff to various booths erected by Wisdom Tower people. This wisdom credits seemed quite credible as many shop owners didn't seem to mind taking the wisdom currency, but when I looked at the value of wisdom credits, I became quite shocked. 1,000 wisdom credits are equal to 1 unrefined mana crystal compared to our currency, which is 1 million credits equal to 1 unrefined mana crystal. Chapter 296, The Tez. Sigh. I finally closed the book on my holowatch. It took me more than a day to read all the reading material that I brought. I thought I would finish reading it by late night, but I was so wrong. I started to read yesterday afternoon right after I returned to my camp. I read till night and today the whole day till now. Only then I was able to finish the whole reading material. I was going to take the test today, but I spent the whole day in reading. It is worth it though, as now I have a better idea about the test and most importantly the rule power. I now knew all I need to know. After doing one thing that is left, I will be completely ready to climb the mountain tomorrow. Standing in the center of the tent, I started to perform the exercise of the Nightblade style. I had little berserk energy hidden in my body which I have to merge in my body, so it will enhance the strength of my body by a fraction. I started to perform the exercise. I did not much feel about the first half an hour like the last time, but after that, I started to feel my muscle tightening and resistance is building because of that. As resistance kept building, my body started to contract and deform at the cellular level. Because of that, the berserk energy in my body started merging with my body. This went on for 35 minutes, and in that time the hidden berserk energy completely merged in my body. The resistance also started to weaken rapidly after that, and 5 minutes later I stopped doing exercise. This time I only performed the exercise for little more than an hour. It is compared to the 11 hours it had taken me last time. That time I had way more berserk energy hidden in the body and its level also high. That is why it took me so much time. I took a quick shower after I finished doing exercise, and after that I fell asleep directly. Tomorrow going to be an important day. If I pass the test then it will going to change my life forever. I woke up next feeling refreshed and ready to tackle any challenges that came in my way. I quickly finished my morning duties and started to cook for us. After eating I went out of my tent and started to walk toward the mountain with Ashlyn on my shoulder. I hope to climb the mountain and enter the palace. This will be very difficult, but I will give my all, I thought with determination. Michael. I heard a familiar voice behind me, only to see it as Billy and Nigel are coming toward me. So, you guys made? I said, smiling as they came near me. If you had made then why couldn't we? Replied Billy with a smile as he hit me lightly on the shoulder. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. When do you guys arrived here? I asked as we started to walk toward the mountain. 2 days ago. You? Billy replied and asked me the same question. Me too. I also arrived 2 days ago, I replied. I lied. I arrived 3 days ago at night, but I don't want to tell them that lest they feel bad seeing how they are one stage higher than me but still were a day late. You are attempting the test now, right? Nigel asked. I nodded. There is no need to hide as I am directly wailing toward the mountain. You guys? I asked. I am not sure if they are attempting the test or going toward the fair as they were wearing normal clothes like me. We are also climbing the mountain today, answered Billy and Nigel. Both of their faces became serious when they answered that. No one said anything after that. Everyone knows that it is going to be very difficult. This King-Great Awakening ground were barely 1 in 1,000 able to enter the palace, that is for the people of Central Continent. If it is that difficult for them, then I can't imagine how difficult it is going to be for us. From what I sensed, most of the people who came from the Central Continent have the power of trainee elite at least. These are just normal people. The good ones have the power of super elite and some even stronger than that. They are just common evolvers of the Central Continent. Some were from low-level organizations while others are like me, were free adventurers. Our walk was silent and soon we reached the base of the mountain. There is no restriction here. Anyone can attempt the test except for those who had become unconscious and got disqualified. There are tens of runic circles could be seen in the base of the mountain. Become people could be seen appearing now and then. These people are the ones who got fainted on the mountain and got disqualified. As long as one failed for more than half an hour, he will directly get teleported and disqualified, and if he tried to enter it, he will bear the 3 times more pressure than normal people face. The test's time is 1 day. In 1 day one had to climb this mountain fully. If one was still on the mountain when the day was over, he will get disqualified. If you don't want to get disqualified, then you will have to climb down the mountain within daytime to try again. If it were normal mountain without any pressure, then it would have taken me almost 45 minutes to climb up and half of that to climb down, but alas, it is not the normal mountain. There are 2,712 one had to climb to reach the top of the mountain and pass the test. With every test there will be a slight increase in physical and mental pressure. From the information I've read, it said that as physical pressure is very easy to bear, it is mental pressure that eliminates more than 90% participant. If it were just a test of physical pressure, then more than 90% of participants would have passed this test easily. The information says that about 80% people eliminated before they could climb the 1,000 stairs. Of the remaining 20%, only 3% to 4% were able to reach 2,000 steps, and those reach the stop are less than 0.1%. Less than 0.1%, this the number of people who can reach the top. This is how difficult the test is us. As 3 of walking toward the stars of the mountain, both Billy and Nigel looked at me with surprise. You are bringing your monster as well? Billy asked in surprise. Yes, I think she has better chances to pass the test than me. I replied. Ha ha ha. Both of them started to laugh, hearing that as if I told the biggest joke. I am not surprised seeing their reaction, as very few people would not react the same as they did. Choo choo. Ashlyn's angry chirp could be heard as she looked the 2 who laughing at her, and seeing the chubby bird angry, they laughed even more. Monsters can also give the test, and they also have to bear a similar pressure as us, but very most people did not bring it. Monsters' passing percentage is 10 times less than the human. Monster have strong bodies from the birth which human could never able to compare, but a mental stage of monsters are said to be weaker than humans. That is why very few monsters were able to pass the test. What I said earlier is no a joke. I genuinely believe Ashlyn have better chance to pass the test than me, seeing how stubborn and tenacious she is. All of us turned serious as reached from of the first step of the mountain. It looked like normal mountain stair, the only difference is the runes are carved on it. Runes could be seen carved on every part of the mountain. These runes are the reason we feel mental and physical pressure walking on it. Best of luck to both of you, I said to Nigel and Billy, and put my feet on the first step of the mountain. Chapter 297, The Test 2. I did not feel anything as I climbed on the first step of the mountain. It just felt like stepping on the normal step. Do you guys felt anything? They shook their head saying no, but looking around I saw that very few people seemed surprised like us, while others treating it like normal. I started climbing the steps with Billy and Nigel. First few steps I did not feel anything, but after I took the 7th step, I started to feel the pressure. It was very light like a feather. One would not notice it if one didn't look for it. It is both mental and physical in nature, and it kept increasing little by little as I step higher. This pressure felt nothing now, but if this kept increasing at this speed, then I can imagine how difficult it became after taking a few hundred steps. Have you decided which rule power you are going to go for? Billy asked as his eyes full of dreams, probably imagining the rule he is going to comprehend. I shook my head at his question. There are too many choices that I can't decide, I replied for adding. But to enter the palace we have to climb the mountain first, I said while looking at the steps. I will have to think about climbing the mountain first before I could think about what rule power I should comprehend. When I was reading about rule power yesterday, I thought about which rule power I should comprehend if I was able to climb the mountain. There are 237 rule objects in the palace which represent 237 different rule powers. Some are easier to comprehend while others are hard. The rules are mainly divided into 3 types, level 1, level 2 and level 3 according to the power of the rule, but this categorization is not obsolete. Level 3 is weakest while level 1 is the highest rule. The basic elements water, fire, earth, and air are included in level 3 rules, but their powerful variants and fusions like rule C, which variant of the water element, and thunder, which is a fusion of fire and air, included in level 2 rules. Normally all the rules related weapon are in included level 2 rules, another concept, and physical type rules like cutting, hacking, speed, strength, illusion, mirage all included in the level 2 rules. Some variation and fusion of rules have the capability to reach near level 3 rules, but Barry could comprehend some rules. Level 3 rules, these rules are crazy powerful, the rules of celestial bodies like the world, the sun, the moon, the stars, etc., the rule which derived from time and space like withering and teleporting. There are also rules which are derived from life and death. Level 3 rules are very very hard to comprehend, and barely anyone in the Supreme Continent were able to comprehend them. The book said that level 3 rules are on a completely different level than the other 2 categories. They are so powerful that whoever comprehended them can absolutely crush anyone within the same level, even his opponent comprehended tens of level 2 rules. There is no object of rule that contains the power of level 3 rules in the above palace. These objects precious beyond limits, no organization would waste is for common people, no matter how benevolent it is. Even supreme organizations top elite would not get the chance to comprehend from it, that is how precious they are. In the palace above there are 212 level 3 rules and 25 level 3 rules one can comprehend. Rules are quite mysteries thing. When one comprehends the rule from the object, there is only 80% chance that he will comprehend the same rule that the object is emitting, while other 20% chances that he will comprehend that same rule but have a little different flavor to it. These flavors could be said to be the property of fire, as some fire burns at a higher temperature while others at low. Some have qualities like stickiness and some have explosiveness. There is just a 20% chance of it happening, but it happens. I kept climbing the mountain with Nigel and Billy, and so we reached 300 stairs. The pressure releasing from the mountain had started to affect my speed of climbing. Still, I am fine compared to the 2 beside me. The beads of sweat had started to form on the forehead while I am still very fine and there is no sweat on my body. As we climb higher, my physical superiority had started to show. Despite them 1 stage higher than me, they are only slightly stronger than me if I did not use my totem artifact. The pressure here everyone bear is depending on their stage. The higher the stage is, the more pressure they will have to bear, and because that despite having similar strength, they are bearing more pressure than me. If I think rationally, then their chances of reaching the top of the tower are really low. Their power could be compared to the mid-level elite member of organizations in West Blood. That is quite good power level to have in West Blood, but here it is below average. Below average, this is their strength here. Even I am, who had become quite cocky after having the power of the trainee super elite and having and obtaining totem artifact, had been put to my place after seeing the abilities of people from the central continent. My abilities here considered average. I body strong enough to take me to 2000 step, and after that, I will have to do something to make my body stronger, but that is not the main problem. The main problem is mental fortitude. I don't know if I have enough mental fortitude to climb 1000 step, much less 2000th and whole mountain. Compared to me they are in a much higher predicament if they want to cross, as they are 1 stage higher than me. I did not look down on them and believe in them, as I know that every man is capable of performing a miracle and they might be able to perform one. Fuck. This is hard, said Billy as he wiped the sweat on his forehead. We have finally reached the 500th steps and pressure started to take a toll on us. My body had become all sweaty. It a good thing I had worn my training suit which sweats resistance. As we climb higher, the crowd is also started to thin out little by little. Still, there are a lot of people around me. I will see major thin from 800 steps, as that is when most people started to reach their limit. Currently, I am feeling quite a pressure. The physical pressure is not that great. The mental pressure, on the other hand, started to worry me. This mental pressure felt as if someone had strapped the boulder on the back and kept climbing higher. The weight of the boulder is also kept increasing. Soon we climbed the 600th step and then 700th, and kept inching closer to the 800th step. As we climb higher, Billy and Nigel's pace slowed down a little, and I also slowed down my pace with them. Though the pressure is great, I felt like I can still maintain my regular pace despite the pressure, but I intentionally slowed down so I could climb with my friends. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. We reached the 800th step. Billy and Nigel's pace had slowed down considerably. To take a single step they started taking 10 to 20 seconds. As we climbed higher, then times increased again. We are not the only one climbing on the slow pace. The people around us are also slow as us. Some even directly sat on the steps, seeing that I shook my head. They already lost their will, I thought. According to me, sitting is the biggest taboo, as once one sat on the stairs he will slowly start to lose the willpower to climb and wanted to rest more. As he rests more, the more willpower he will lose, till he will lose the will to ascend the mountain and will have no choice but to descend and try again. We finally climbed 900 steps, and when I look around, more than half of the crowd around us already thinned out, but there are still thousands and thousands of people are climbing around us. Michael, you should go ahead. You have been slowing down your pace because of us, said Nigel suddenly. I got a little startled hearing that. I didn't know Nigel is this observant to notice I was slowing down my pace. Billy also looked a little startled hearing this and looked me in wonder. But, yo. I was just saying, but I was cut off by Nigel. Don't worry about us, we are not as weak you might think, he said and thumped on my shoulder. Now go. Next time you will see us we will be showing you off our rule power, and I expect to see your rule power as well, he said. I wanted to say something but no word came out of my mouth, so I just gave them a hug and started to climb the mountain at my highest pace. He really did slow down his pace for us, exclaimed Billy as he saw Michael climb mountain higher pace than them. Haven't you noticed? He had the power of trainee super elite, otherwise how would he able to help us defeating that mid-level master monster and successfully ran in the same speed us from that peak master stage vine snake, said Nigel to his head. Hearing Nigel's words, understanding dawned on Billy's face. Let's increase our pace. You don't want to lose to a rookie that you used to give tips, right? Said Nigel as them both increased their pace to the limit and started to follow the figure of Michael, who was getting more and more away from them by the minute. Note, next chapter going to be full of surprise. Chapter 298, the Test 3 Final. 1000th step. I had finally reached the 100th step, and this is not my limit. I can feel that I can climb much more. I am feeling high physical pressure, but that is bearable as I have a strong body, but I was surprised to see that my mental fortitude is quite strong. I thought I would feel unbearable mental pressure at 1000th step, but to my surprise, I am not. Although pressure is quite strong, I am still bear it. I have to thank those two fatties who are in the underworld. When they had force-fed me the monster core and I had come very close to the dying, at that I felt my mentality change, and even death was not able to waver me for a second. That moment had brought a very big change to my mentality, and that is probably why I am not at my limit at 1000th step. With this realization, I started to climb again and my speed hand increased again and I started to climb faster. Ashlyn on the other hand silently sitting on my shoulder, occasionally looking at the people who are looking at her in wonder. I am not feeling any extra pressure due to her except for her little weight. The runes are designed this way that even if monster or human were to fly above the mountain, they will feel the same pressure I am feeling walking. So, now Ashlyn is feeling the same pressure as me, but her condition is much better, as I did not even saw a bead of sweat on her shiny silver fur. I wanted to sense her emotions to see what she is feeling, but she had isolated her mind from my sensing. Except for her location, I did not feel anything from her. I thought it was quite common to isolate one's mind completely amongst the monsters, but I got quite surprised knowing it is not normal. Only Lieutenant stage monster barely able to do that, but Ashlyn had learned to do that at specialist stage. At one glance she is normal mutated gray spark sparrow who had no high-level strain in her body, but when I think about how intelligent she is compared to another monster at her stage and how she can isolate her mind from me, I felt that there are many secrets hidden in her. Since I started walking, I had not seen more than 50 monsters walking beside their partner, and as I climbed high, I only able to see the monsters now and then. Monsters are very rare compared to thousands and thousands of humans due to their weak mental fortitude. Nature is fair and every being in the world have their strength and weakness. Monsters have a strong body but weak mind. If they had a strong mind as well, the humans would have been wiped out by the monsters ages ago. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. Getting my mind out of those magical thoughts, I focused on climbing the mountains. 1100th, 1200th, 1300th. I kept climbing without stopping. A few minutes ago I was able to see the shadow of Nigel and Billy, but now I had left them so behind that I could not even see their shadow as well. I hope they are able to climb the mountain and comprehend the rule. They are good people who helped me a lot in my rookie days. I can even say that some of the tips they gave me had even saved my life many times. I can't do anything about them except for hope. It's up to their efforts if they are able to climb the mountain or not. 1400th, 1500th. Only reaching 1500th steps did I started to feel the pressure that made me slow down my pace considerably. I now felt like something had bonded the prehistoric wagon full of stones to my body and soul, and I am climbing the mountain while pulling. The higher I climb and the heavier that wagon became. Many thoughts of giving up had surfaced in my mind seeing increasing pressure, but I squished it effectively. I will climb this mountain no matter how hard I have to work or the price I have to pay. I will climb it no matter what. 16,000th, 1700th, 1800th. When I touched the 1800th step, I felt like I had truly reached my limit. Was taking every step became harder and harder. My speed is as slow as a snail as I am needing a minute to take every step. My whole body had become sweaty and I did not have energy lift my sleeve to clean it. I let it fall on the ground. Choo-choo. As I was taking a step, I stopped for a while. I am thinking of stopping for a minute before continuing, but I took more time and about to sit down instinctively due to tiredness when I've heard loud chirp by my ear. That chirp brought me out of dazed tirelessly and quickly straightened. I had nearly given up, I thought with a sigh. I clearly knew what would have happened after I sat down. I would have to give slowly and descended the mountain, thinking trying the next day, but that would have become impossible. It is said the chances of the second timer passing the test is very, very low. There is no increase of pressure for them. They had to bear the same amount of pressure, but for some reason, the second timer rarely passes the test. That is why many people seniors advance them to try to pass the test at first attempt. I had heard this advice many times listening to the conversation. Thanks, Ashlyn, I said and lovingly petted her before starting to climb the stairs again. No matter what happened now, I will not stop for rest. This time, if not for the Ashlyn chirp, I would have definitely been a goner with little chance to pass the test again. I kept climbing and climbing. Whenever I thought about giving up, I would think about the scenario of when those two fatties had force-fed me and how persisted and fought to live every second. With that thought of persistence, I kept climbing the steps with newfound vigor. No matter how much pressure I feel, I would always take a step. Step, step, a step. I kept taking a step no matter how great the pressure. I persisted, and this time I did not even take a look at what number is a step I am taking or who are around me. The only thing in my mind the step which is in front of me. I kept taking step after step, without caring about the pressure I am feeling and how sweaty my body had become. I finally stopped. I stopped when I felt I had truly reached my limit both physically and mentally. In fact, that my body is so much under pressure that I am bleeding from my nose and ears, and if I kept my body under this pressure then my eyes also going to bleed out soon. When I look at which number of the stairs I am standing on, I couldn't help but feel shocked. 2136th step. I thought I would be at most 1900 something, but I had climbed 100 steps more. I quickly came out of my jubilation and looked ahead. There are about 600 steps left to climb and I had already reached my limit. If I again started to step, then forget about mental pressure, the physical pressure alone would start to harm me. I do not have secret methods as those coming from Central Continent which would help me elevate the mental and physical pressure, and there are no skills I could use. I only know one thing that could help me both physically and mentally, and that is supreme combat exercise. This is the only thing which could help me persist and make my mental and physical fortitude strong enough to climb the rest 600 steps. I had already thought about this yesterday in detail. This is the only thing which could help, but circulate is very hard. Ever since the resistance started, I rarely circulated due to that blogging resistance I felt while circulating. Last time I was able to circulate became my life on the line, while this time is my future. These 600-something steps will help achieve a dream that I had been dreaming since my childhood. League of Legends. After I hearing about the Central Continent, this competition may seem bland, but in my mind, it is still important. I normally thought to participate in League of Legends enough for me, but I knew deep down inside that I just don't want to participate, but I want to win, and this desire bubbling inside me ever since my disastrous defeat in West Blood City competition. I am not angry at anyone but myself for being weak. If I had been a little bit stronger I would not have lost so demonstrably, and if I had worked little hard from the beginning I would have had a chance of winning. West Blood City competition is the pebble in from of League of Legends, which is a mountain, this time League of Legend going to very grand. I am sure that people that started to enter this realm from West Blood and other cities, at least million would enter this awakening ground, and a few hundred of them would be capable enough to reach the palace. Half of these people would surely enter League of Legends. Fighting such evolvers would be a real challenge. Thinking this without hesitation, I took out the core of a piece of Corporal Stage Monster's core and ate it. It reached my stomach and started releasing berserk energy. Seeing that, I grit my teeth and took a step while circulating supreme combat exercise. I had already been on the 9th circulation, so I quickly able to reach the 9th circulation as I did not feel any resistance, only pain, which is bearable. I started on 10th circulation, and that when I felt jamming circulation, but despite that, I kept circulating as I am slowly started to take one step after another. As I took the steps higher and higher, I started to feel more and more pressure, that even my eyes also started to bleed and felt like even my bones would start to crack if I did not faint at first, but I did not care about that as most my eyes concentration on circulation, the supreme combat exercise. Using this immense pressure I am feeling on my both mind and body, I started circulating supreme combat exercise, bulldozing any resistance that came in way, circulating it. 10th, 11th, 12th. I kept circulating while taking one step after another that I felt bone of my leg started to crack, but I did not care and kept walking. 18th, 19th, 20th circulation I kept circulating, the blood from my nose, eyes, and ears started to drip down on the steps that I walk in, but I did not mind that. Usually, I would have cleaned that immediately as I did not like this yucky feeling, but now I have more important things to worry about than feeling yucky. Finally, I reached the 24th circulation. I did not hurry and crash against the wall but started to build momentum. I wanted to crush the wall in a single bang and create 18th seal. I keep building the momentum, till I barely able to control myself, and when I felt I will soon lose control over it, I diverted it against the wall. Bang! The wall that had been stopping me from creating the 18th seal started, and formation of seal started in my temple space. I started providing it mana before it even started. I did not stop to take a rest even when the seal was created. I kept taking one step after another. As I was taking steps, my eyes unknowingly caught something, and when I look again to confirm what I saw, I became shocked. How did he appear here? I questioned myself as I looked boy sitting on the step while huffing loudly. He is Kevin, my old classmate and bullies, and most important, he was sitting on 2218th step. Chapter 299, The Rule Palace. Kevin! I shouted in my mind. He is sitting on the steps ahead of me, and not alone. Beside him is Archer girl that had beaten me in the challenge in my town a year ago. They are both sitting on the steps while looking tired. Seeing their faces, I can tell they are dead tired and most probably reached their limit. There is still distance 14 stairs between us, and he is sitting little far left side. It was just a coincidence that I spotted him, so he wouldn't notice me even if I walked by the step he is sitting on. Kevin least needs to have the power of trainee super elite, that is the only requirement of physical strength. The reason I am shocked is seeing his mental strength. On my way I have seen many people who were oozing the aura of super elite lay collapsing on steps, all due to not having enough mental strength. I too nearly have given up earlier. To bear the mental pressure till he reached this step, he must have many experiences that made his mental fortitude this stronger. While climbing, I furiously fed the mana I had converted from the berserk energy to the seal. The seal stopped sucking mana and started to take shape in my temple space. 18th seal formed completely and it started to some cool energy which started to heal small injuries I have received due to pressure. The formation 18th seal had given me very small relief from the pressure, it had healed my wounds and I also felt a fraction of metal pressure I was feeling had lessened, but it is not enough. I will need to create a few more seals or second amethyst seal which could help me bear the pressure till I reached the top. After 18th seal is created, I started circulating for the 19th seal. The resistance had increased again but I still kept circulating despite that. No matter how hard it will get, I will not stop until I reach the top. Soon I reached the step that Kevin had been sitting on. He did not notice me as he was resting with the archer girl. "Kevin, I'll see you at the top, hope you are able to reach it," I said sarcastically as I climbed another step while he kept looking at me with a completely dumbfounded and shocked expression. I have never seen him this shocked ever before. Ha 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 ha. I laughed loudly seeing such expression on his face. Not only me, Ashlyn also looked at him arrogantly, probably searching that three-eyed devil monkey of his. While Kevin still kept looking at me dumbfoundedly, I kept taking one step after another while circulating supreme combat exercise. "Kevin, he seemed a little familiar. Who is he?" asked Rain, but she did not get an answer as Kevin still hadn't come out, shocked seeing Michael here and climbing high. "Kevin." Only when Rain shouted loudly and shook his shoulder did he came back to himself. "Remember a year ago when we passed by my town, we had little competition there?" Kevin asked. "Yes, I remember," Rain replied. "Well, he is a boy who killed most monsters after you," Kevin said with a sigh. Whenever he thinks that moment and another moment such as those where Michael had beaten him badly, his blood started to boil. Hearing that unclear image of Michael came in Rain's mind. She wasn't able to recognize Michael because of his bloody face, which is not uncommon in after 2000th steps. "Yes, I remember now. Isn't he the one you said that you want to beat the shit out his smug face and also the one that bullied you a lot in school?" said Rain while massaging his shoulder softly. If Michael had heard what Rain said, he would have reacted quite differently as he would remember those moments quite differently. "We just saw Ellen some time ago. Haven't you seen how smug she looked when she left us behind?" And now this Michael left us behind with his sarcastic remark, Kevin said with gritted teeth. "Let's go, I refuse to believe I am inferior. I will climb this or die trying," said Kevin as he stood up while holding Rain's hand and started to climb the mountain with her. 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th circulation. Finally I had reached 24th circulation of supreme combat exercise and I started to build up momentum to break the wall to create the 19th seal. My injuries which had been healed by the 18th seal has flared up again, this time I am even more injured. Blood could be coming from the many parts of my body as my skin started to tear up due to pressure. Not only that, cracks also started to form on my bones, I even felt that there is a small crack is forming on my body. I have to keep creating seals. If this pressure increased too much then my body could directly snap under pressure and I could die. Bang! The wall is broken and seal started to suck my mana as I started to provide it as much as it needs. I even ate another small piece of corporal stage monster's core, so I could provide it with more mana. The 19th seal is completely formed and it started to release healing energy, but this time my injuries are too great that it wants able to heal it fully. Shaking my head, I took out a potion bottle and drank it all in a single gulp. I have been drinking potions every minute to heal my injuries, otherwise my body would have succumbed to injuries and I would have collapsed on the step. I am on the 2438th step and there are still about 300 steps late and danger is immense. If the potions were not able to injure my body quickly in this pressure then I may very well collapse, so it is imperative for me to create 20th seal, which in turn will create second amethyst seal. I am confident that after second amethyst seal is created, my body would be capable enough to bear the physical pressure until I reached the top. As for mental pressure, I think this second amethyst seal would surely bring change in my mental energy. I only have a feeling of that, but I am not sure. I will see it when the time comes. I kept taking a step while drinking potions and circulating supreme combat exercise from which I am feeling even more resistance. The crowd thinned out very much. An hour ago I used to see thousands and thousands of people around me climbing, but now there is not even 100. Not everyone can bear this amount of pressure, even if they have secret methods provided by their organizations. As my circulation is advanced, so is pressure. Now even drinking potion every second can't stop new injuries forming while earlier heal. I wanted to stop, but I can't. I know once I stop, I will lose the willpower to climb again, and I don't want that to happen. No matter what price I have to pay, I will climb the mountain. Crack. Crack. I can literally hear my bones cracking, and if I didn't do anything in a few seconds, every bone in my will break. I will collapse, and once the danger approached near death, I will be transported to the base of the mountain, losing my chance completely. Without thinking, I took out a bottle of daffodil honey from my storage and dropped the drop on my tongue. The next moment, I felt honey of daffodil started to travel inside me, healing my injuries. Even if the pressure broke my bones and tear my skin, it will heal it right away. According to my calculations, this drop will give me a few minutes of rest before I had to drink the second drop. I hope I will be able to create second amethyst seal before, otherwise, it will all be for naught. Choo-choo. Ashlyn, who was on my shoulder, chirped seeing the daffodil honey, but to my utter surprise, she didn't demand to drink. Her chirp just now was an encouragement for me. I lovingly petted her fur, which is wet with sweat, but that is all. Her monster physique she is holding quite well against pressure, as I saw no visible injury on her. The more steps I climb, the more pressure I felt. I am at the brink of losing consciousness, the mental pressure pressing me so great that any moment it could snap my mind. The only reason I have not fallen unconscious due to my willpower. I am keeping myself awake with my sheer willpower. The small glass bottle in my hand is emptying at visible pace. If it had to need normal times, I would have survived by potion, but this is not the normal times. My heart burns whenever I drank the bottle of daffodil honey, as it is very precious and very difficult to acquire. There is no market for this honey in back home. Whenever it appears in the market, it was quickly brought by organizations and alchemists. 24th circulation. I reached the 24th circulation when there was just a single drop of daffodil honey left in the bottle, but I had finally reached the 24th circulation. I started building the momentum right after reaching 24th circulation to quickly create the seal, as I wanted to save this last drop for the emergency. I kept building the momentum. I wanted to be raging like a flooded river which can crush whatever obstacle that came in its way. Bang! The wall finally is broken and the 20th seal started to form. I started to provide it the mana at my highest speed. I started converting mana at my highest speed as it kept sucking whatever mana I had converted before it could reach the central storage. 20th seal completed within a minute. That is a record for me. I always need more than 2 minutes to create the seal. As it transferred its cooling energy to heal my body, but my body is already healed as there's still energy daffodil honey in my body. Every moment my body is getting injured by pressure, and next moment it got healed by the energy of daffodil's bees, honey. Soon the seal stopped healing energy to my body, and then I was waiting for finally arrived. The 10 seals in temple space started to spin and sucking mana that I converting. Seeing the pierce of the core in my body would not be enough, I take out the complete core of corporal level monster. The only complete core of the corporal stage monster would be enough to provide me with enough mana to create an amethyst seal. While I am providing the mana to the amethyst seal, I am also climbing the mountain. I did not look around nor I looked far ahead. I only looked at the step that is in front of me and nothing else. The 10 seals are spinning faster and faster, also getting closer to merge, while their appetite for mana also grew big that I am barely able to provide it. This grew on for minutes before the merging is finished, and when I looked inside my stomach, there is barely enough of the corporal stage core left. If sucking had been gone any longer, I would have had to eat the new core. The energy of the daffodil bee's honey is nearly gone and I can feel the injuries are forming in my body, but I am not worried as amethyst seal is formed. It should release its healing energy at any moment. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Just as I thought that the amethyst seal released its healing energy, I felt cool all over my body as my injuries healed in a minuet. Not only that, I can feel that every part of my body getting stronger and stronger. Most importantly, the mental pressure which was a moment away from making me conscious had started to lighten a little. This kept going on for a few minutes, and when Amethyst Seal turned normal, I felt I had gained considerable strength. Gasp. A loud gasp came out of my body, not because the feeling the change in my body and mind, but looking ahead as I found myself seeing Majestic Palace. It is the most beautiful and elegant architecture I've ever seen in my life. Even those from movies couldn't come to it as it was so majestic. The palace is so majestic that it releases an oppressive aura of its own that makes one want to kneel front it, and most important thing that I am just 10 some steps away from passing the test. I thought there would be 100 some steps would be left for me to climb, but there are just 10 some steps, so, without waiting, I started to run toward it, bearing the immense pressure with the power of Amethyst Seal I had created. Thud. I fell flat on my face, because the pressure was too great, but there is no pressure. 1 minute I was feeling immense pressure on both my body and mind, and the next moment it was gone. Ha 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 ha. I finally passed. I said and started laughing like crazy. Chapter 300 Rule of Killing. I finally able to stand up without falling. I had been walking in this immense pressure for the hours, and now it is suddenly gone. Anyone would need a few minutes to adjust. The first thing I did after getting up is to admire the majestic palace. Its name is Rule Palace, a quite fitting name, as only going inside it would one able to comprehend the rule power. After admiring the Rule Palace for a few hours, I look around, and except for seeing people in aqua blue patrolling now and then, I did not see anything. It is very hard to climb the mountain, and only 1 or 2 people successfully climb it every 10 to 15 minutes. After admiring the Rule Palace for a few minutes, I started to walk not toward the mountain but the tens of small beautiful houses that build in the corner. I am currently in no condition to pass the test. I am tired both mentally and physically. Only after showering, sleeping, and eating would I able to comprehend the rules. Those little houses are built for the purpose to provide the test for those who had passed the test. Only when one at one's optimal condition would he be able to comprehend the rule to his highest. When I opened the door of the small house, I found it had a simple design, nothing fancy, but it is enough for me. The first thing I did was to find the shower. I first bathed Ashlyn as she had become quite sweaty. Only after bathing her did I took the bath myself. I came out of the bathroom only to find Ashlyn is sleeping comfortably on the bed. I smiled seeing that. She is more tired, that thought. I dried myself and laid on the bed to sleep. Second later I fell asleep only to find it is dark outside. When I looked at my holowatch, I found that I had slept for 7 hours. I feel quite refreshed after waking up. Not only I felt clear in my mind, I also felt immense strength in my body. Ashlyn is still sleeping. She will wake up soon, I thought, and take out leftover food from the morning and started to heat it. Choo-choo. As I am heating the food, I heard Ashlyn chirp only to see she standing on the bed with her 2 tiny legs. I served the food into the plates and started to eat with Ashlyn. 5 minutes later we were finished. I get out of the small house with Ashlyn and walk toward the Rule Palace with my heart beating hard. I have to think about this moment ever since I've heard about it from Jim, and now I am very close to it. I walked toward the huge gate of the palace, and with a slight push, the gate opened and walk inside. The inside is completely different from its outside majestic appearance. Inside of it is completely circular, and there are 237 doors could be seen. There are no physical door but water layer that act as a door. Beside each door is a unique sigil which presented the what type rule one can comprehend after going inside it. There is also information about the rule is also carved below the sigil about the rule. If one can even sense the rule power if one enter 1M range of sigil. Ashlyn, go, choose which hall you want to enter, I said. Ashlyn, who was intently looking at the door, did not fly away from my shoulder. I find it a little odd, but I did not mind that. In this rule place there are 237 rules, and each door represent the rule. There are 212 level 3 rules and 25 level 2 rules. It is said that those who are able to pass the test of King level Awakening Ground have an above 90% chance of comprehending level 3 rules, but it cannot be said about the level 2 rules. There is less than a 1% chance that one can comprehend the level 2 rules. Level 2 rules are way more powerful than the level 3 rules. From what I have read from the reading material I brought, that most of the people in Central Continent did not able to comprehend level 2 rules. As for those who were able to comprehend the level 2 rules, more than 85% of those use smart way. They fused rules, they comprehend more 2 or more level 3 rules and fuse them to create level 2. Like rule of fire and rule of earth, merging can create rule of lava, which is level 2 rule. Or the meeting of rule of water and rule of wind can create rule of storm, which is a level 2 rule, but it is hard. Meaning of rules are very hard and very few could do that, and there are many technical details also involve property or flavor of the rules you are merging, and sometimes it can backfire. Like rule of fire and rule of earth can create rule of lava, which is level 2 rule, but it can also create rule of hearthstone, which is level 3 rule and weaker than rule of fire and rule earth individually. So, comprehending level 2 rules are very difficult, and from a conversation I listened, I come to know that rule of objects of level 2 rules that are placed here are at their last stages. The rules' power inside them had diminished quite well and could only be used for a year before they depleted all their rule power compared to rule of object of level 3 rules, which could last decades, even centuries. But no one complained, as it is benevolence of wisdom tower that they were even taking level 2 rule of objects, depleted that they may be. There are 212 level 3 are here, most of them are basic elemental rules with different variations and their weaker fusion. There are not all elemental rules, half of them are different, like rule of toxin, which derived from rule of poison, which level 2 rule. Rule of toxin could say to be high-grade level 3 rules, which can even contend against some of weaker level 2 rules. There is rule of ailment, which descended from rule of disease, which is high-grade level 2 rule. Of the 25 level 2 rules, 13 are weapon type rule. The weapon type rule is special rules which power completely depended on the flavor they had comprehended. Some rules of weapon could be weak as level 1 rule, while some rules of weapons could even be matched to some weaker level 1 rules, but that is very, very rare. It is said if very strong rule of weapon able to merge with one or more very strong level 2 rule, then it can even transcend to level 1 rule. But the weapon rules are very average. Aside from weapons rule, there are some other levels 2 rules. Like rule of metal, rule of thunder, rule of cutting, rule of strength, rule of speed, but there are 3 rules here which caught my eye. They are rule of sun fire, rule of killing and rule of meteorite. All 3 of these rules are extremely powerful rules. 2 are descended from rule of celestial bodies, sun and asteroid. As for rule of killing, it said the same level of them as it descended from rule of mortality, a level 1 rule. All these rules, some of stronger while others are weaker, but every rule have the capability to transcend higher with either favor, variation, or fusion. When I was reading about the rules, I had already chosen the rule which I wanted to comprehend if I passed the test. Rule of fire and rule of sword, one is level 3 rules while the other 2 are level 2 rules. I can choose either one of these 3 rules, or I can try a particular OD that I had read in the book. This method is not mysteries, but many people of the big organization try that, it said, and it makes chances of one comprehending the rule quite high. The method is quite simple. I had to walk every door while my eyes are closed, and the one I felt the closest connection to is the best rule for me to comprehend. It is proven that through this method one had a chance of high success, but not many people follow this method here, as they had already decided on which rule they will comprehend. I was just about to start the method when I found the girl has entered the palace. She looked about 20 years, and the power I am sensing from her that of peak lieutenant stage. She looked shocked when she saw me. She was not exactly shocked seeing but Ashlyn, who was sitting on my shoulder. She soon came to herself and nodded at me smilingly. I nodded her back. She stood beside me for a few minutes before she entered the door, which showing sigil of rule of wind. Looks like she has already decided which rule she will go to comprehend before. Seeing there is no time to waste, I close my eyes and walk toward the door of rule of fire. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Technically rule of fire is rule which I should be feeling more connected to it, as fire is my ability and this is my ability. As I reach a 1 meter range of fire sigil, I felt like I had entered the land of fire. I am feeling the fire in every single cell in my body. This feeling is harmless, but it had scared the shit out of I can feel that rule can vaporize me directly without leaving ashes to bury. Not only this power can vaporize my body but it could also vaporize my soul. This the first time I had experienced the power of the rule fully. Experiencing this I couldn't help but shudder. No wonder everyone is so crazy about it. The power of rules really has the ability to turn world asunder. The feeling is rule of fire is very dangerous but it is harmless. After calming down enough, I deeply concentrated on feeling to see if there is any connection. I didn't have to wait for long as I felt the budding feeling of connection rose in my mind. I felt very happy getting this connection before and kept experiencing for minutes. I started to walk toward another door with a sigil. I have to hurry as I have to check the whole 237 rules. Next was rule of wind. When I entered its range, I felt like I was amidst heavy wind floating where it took with having no control over my body, but when I concentrated on it for the connection, I felt no connection to it. Seeing that I moved toward the rule of earth but also I felt no connection to it, so I moved on. I kept checking one rule after another but no connection. I only felt a slight connection when I come across rule of scorching wind. It average fusion type level 1 rule which made of rule of fire and rule of wind. Time passed on and after nearly 2 hours later, I finished sensing all the level 3 rules of which I had felt a connection with 8 rule and all of them have some element of fire. They were either variation or fusions. Now only 25 level 2 rules are remaining. I closed my eyes and walked toward the first level 2 rule, which weapon type rule, rule of hammer. As I entered its range it felt like I would crush under the weight of the hammer. Its effect are way more intense but calmed myself soon going through more than 200 rule. It was caught me off guard due to its intensity which more than I had imagined. As I concentrate on it I did not feel any connection to it but I soon notice a thing about. The feeling it gave is very intense due to it being level 2 rule but the ruling power it is excluding is very low compared to level 3 rule. Looks like the rumor was really true. The level 3 rule of objects that kept here are nearly spent and they could completely deplete at any moment. I walked toward other weapon type rule. Each and every rule is very powerful but all of their rule power is nearly spent. After hammer, I went toward rule saber, spear, knife, bow, and some other weapon rule but I did not feel any connection to it, though I felt a slight familiar feeling. It is rule of lance. It gave me a similar feeling of stabbing sensation I felt when I touched the wound of Lieutenant Stage monster which killed by the young girl. Finally, I walked toward the rule of sword. It was my second choice of 2 choices. As I entered the range of sword rule, I felt like I had entered the storm of the sword. Extremely sharp sword cutting me at every angle. When I concentrate I found that I am feeling a strong connection with it as I felt with the rule of fire. I experienced sword rule for a while before moving toward another rule but my mind is thinking about the rule of fire and rule of the sword. They are the most rules that I chose and I am feeling a strong connection with the. I wanted to stop this process and chose between the rule of fire and rule of sword but I controlled myself walk toward another rule. I walked toward rule of lava, storm, steam, cutting, strength, speed, illusion and other till only 3 rules are left. I was quite surprised and elated to feel a connection with the rule of strength and rule of speed. I never thought I had not thought I will feel a connection with them. Only 3 rules are remaining and they are the most powerful here, rule of meteorite, rule of sun fire and rule of killing. I walked toward the rule of comet. Suddenly everything changed in front of me. I felt like tens of meteorite are crashing toward the world. They had so much power that it could turn world asunder once it crashes. I can feel that its might is on a completely different stage than that of other LV2 rules. I was completely blown away by the power of this rule. Really this is power level 2 rule which is descended from the level 1 rule. The rule power of this rule seems to be nearly diminished and felt like it could go out at any moment. The object of rule of this rule had very less rule power left than other level 2 rules. I stayed under this rule for more than minuet but I did not feel any connection to it. Feeling disappointed I walked to rule of sun. Hot. Immensely hot. I feel like my soul is burning. The rule of fire and rule fire seemed little marble in front of the gigantic mountain. That's how powerful it felt despite having emitting very minuet power through the sigil. Choo-choo. Before I could try to sense my connection with it, I heard an excited chirp from Ashlyn and felt my shoulder lighter. When I opened my eyes, I was only able to catch a glimpse of the Ashlyn passing the door where object of sunfire rule is placed. This completely caught me off guard as Ashlyn had been completely silent, not showing interest to any rule, but after I entered the range of gunfire rule, she directly went in. Closing my eyes again, I concentrated on sigil, and next moment I felt the connection, and to my utter surprise, it is as strong as I felt with rule of fire and rule of sword. This time I am not surprised after seeing Ashlyn went in. I felt I have quite a good chance with this rule. Now, I have 3 rules which I felt a strong connection, with one stronger after another. After some thinking, I've even decided which rule I should comprehend and about to walk towards its door when my gaze fell on the last rule that had remained. The rule of killing. I did not have much interest in this rule, seeing it is about killing. From what I have read, there is no good rule or evil rule, and Central Continent have no discrimination against such rules. The use of rule depends upon its user, whether he uses it for good or bad. Still, I felt that I should at least take a look at how the rule of killing feels. So, I walked toward rule of killing, and as I enter its range, I felt blank for a while, and the next moment I felt like I was in the huge battlefield and every second corpses are falling from the sky. This rule felt like it had some craziness and madness inside that made user to kill whoever came into the way. I took a couple of deep breaths and stabilized my emotion forcefully with my willpower. If I did not have such willpower, their madness in this rule surely would have affected me. I wanted to get out of its range but decided to give this rule a chance that I did with other rules. Gasp! A loud gasp came out of my mouth when I started to see the connection. I thought I would not feel any connection to it, but the opposite happened. I felt a seamless connection with it that I did not feel with any other rule. Even my connection with rule of fire and rule sword seemed paled compared to it. After coming out of its range, and I started to think deeply. 10 minutes later I made my decision and resolutely walked into the door to comprehend rule of killing.